Night 4 of week 2 of term 4 on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club in 2023, and the old traditional favourite in the entree slot, which so often turned out to be the main course heading into dessert, actually, on a Thursday night, is back in town, back in business, ladies and gentlemen. It might be lacking in a bit of depth, this field of Formula V, but the setting, the Ontario, Canada Motorsport Park, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park venue, will turn on a great show nonetheless. And then, of course, we get stuck into some Porsche racing second up tonight when we head to the Jerez circuit in Spain for sprint racing in the Porsche Cup as well. Good evening, everybody. I'm Zach Cable alongside Daniel Correa Sars. Sam Chapman's actually in the booth at the moment, but he's about to be on the circuit. Welcome to Thursday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. And Motorsport, one of the great circuits in Canada, no doubt about that. 3.91 kilometres, 24 degrees. The track temperature at the moment. The ambient temperature is also sitting on 24 degrees right now. 5th of October 2023, 8 past 10 in the morning, and they are still observing daylight saving that beautiful part of the world as well. So good on them. Hello to all of our friends in Queensland and also in Western Australia, where they've only just finished lunch and about to get into afternoon tea as we get underway tonight. Motorsport boys, good evening to you. Welcome along to the ride. This should be a lot of fun. Motorsport, the venue, Formula V racing loves these open, flowing sort of fast racetracks. Motorsport can be a little bit technical in the top section of the circuit, but the back end, holy hell, hang on to your hats. It's going to be a beauty.
Yeah, it'll be driven around here. I'll jump in while I just finish my final lap. But every V race around here is excellent. And that back straight just provides overtaking opportunity after overtaking opportunity. Big packs all over the place. It will look a bit different to what we saw in Oran Park last week.
Daniel, your thoughts? Good evening to you once more. No. Cars lining up on the grid, getting ready for the first race of the night, ladies and gentlemen. It's all made possible with thanks to the great people that support the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, namely Waste Options, Orbic Australia, Login Systems, Player One Sim Gear, Lobesy Racing, M-Wave Australia, and Flash Graphics. It's all coming at you live and free right here on the platforms of the GSRC tonight. Sam Chapman, Chris Noble, the front row, 0.105 the margin. Some of the races will be decided by less than that, I get the feeling. Tonight, Lane Thoburn and Glenn Riddell, the second row. Kevin Henderson, Brendan Neal on the third row. Matt Schmidtke, Phil King, the fourth row. Tony Baker and Kurt Woodward from row 5. Row 6 is where you'll find Josh Maynard and Grant Gill. Row 7, Pete Matson and Robert McGrath. Row 8, Adam Amboson. John, good to have Ambo back. And Philip Howe. And, of course, on the back of the grid there tonight is Steve Hoppett. So sprint racing, the order equation tonight, ladies and gentlemen. 3 races here for Formula V. Second will feature an invert of the top 10. And, of course, 2 sprint races from the Jerez circuit in Spain for the Porsches a little bit later on. Gearing up for the first one of the night. Great to have you along for the ride. We get the feeling that last lap Zach might be required this evening as well, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, Josh Zuno commenting that I'm losing my microphone sporadically here at the moment. It might be a network issue, boys. I'll see what I can do about that as we go. Set for a start on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Thursday Night Motorsport. Let's get ready to go. A slight creep in the holding pattern there whilst we're waiting for starters' orders to be given. Let's see if that comes back to bite them on the backside. Through turn 1 we go. Sam Chapman, a good start. Holds Chris Noble at bay for the moment. Noble, of course, picked up the treble last week at Oran Park in Western Sydney. Thoburn's made a good jump. Glenn Riddell as well. Kevin Henderson, Brendan Nealon all trying to latch on there as well as they head up towards the top section of the circuit for the first time. Remember, that top half of the lap, very tight, very technical, very challenging, and then we get into the wide open spaces of the second part of the lap. Sectors 2 and 3. Phil King in the 4X car. Good start. Everybody away cleanly with the exception of Steve Hoppert, who's dropped 4 seconds off the pack. We're right on board with Grant Gill now, and just look at the log jam. Everybody trying to fight and find a clear piece of real estate here. Not going to happen. Not going to happen in the early stages. Three wide. That'll be common practice tonight. Grant Gill tucked in behind there with Pete Matson and Josh Maynard and Kurt Woodward just ahead of them. 3 wide to the end of the back straight. Someone will have to yield eventually, but not partway through the corner. It tightens up a little bit to the left-hander. Back to the right-hander, onto the main straight car. Going to pit lane, that's Kevin Henderson. So it was Hendo that jumped. Hendo wears the wrath of race control for a jump start. Oh, trouble. Matt Schmidtke caught up. So too Embo, so too Philip Howe. That's unfortunate for those guys. Josh Maynard also caught up in that. On the tow rope. He'll be stationary for a little while. Now, there is merit to getting back out there and getting classified in these races. 75% race distance. Well, for a race that's only going to run 6 laps, 75% of that, you need to complete more than 4 laps to be classified here. 4 only gets you to 65%, 66%. So you need to complete 5 laps. So if Schmidtke can finish a lap down, he'll still be classified. And remembering as well, when we get to the second race a little bit later on, up on the outside of Chris Noble is Sam Chapman now, and on his inside is Lane Thoburn. Glenn Riddell in there looking for a piece of clear real estate as well as they head down towards the right-hander. Chapman's got the advantage for the moment. Noble wants to force the issue on the inside, does so. Thanks very much, thanks for coming. Still side by side through the right-hander, back flicking it through the left-hander. Chapman, very nicely done, and Noble to yield. That assault comes to a halt as they come back round onto the main straight. Another lap done. 2 of 6. The 15-minute races will be 9 laps apiece. Remembering full well that Phil King and Matt Schmidtke, they can, and Kurt Woodward's now in pit lane as well. They've got the option. They can stay there and sit stationary and not get back out in the fight. Or, of course, they can get back out there and try and improve their finishing position. But they don't want to leave the server too early because it is a 3-race format. So there is still merit to hanging around here, despite things going to the proverbial in this opening race. Back at the front, Sam Chapman, Chris Noble, Glenn Riddell, Lane Thoburn, Tony Baker, Brendan Nealon, Pete Matson, Grant Gill, Robert McGrath, Kevin Henderson make up the top 10 at the moment. Steve Hoppett's got by Adam St. John, and we're halfway through the 3rd lap. We're watching Chapman. Noble sitting there in 2nd spot, doing a nice job of it. Down the back straight. Now, at what point here do they pull out of the draft and go for it? We'll wait and see. Absolutely. Ooh. Cito, watch Cito with the run around the outside. Can he hold it and get back on the inside? No, Noble will cover it off. Noble, last week's round winner, finds his way back to the front. Round they come onto the main straight. We ride on board with Chapman. Half race distance, 3 down, 3 to go at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Race 1 of 5 for the night. Remembering, of course, that we talk about entrees and main courses on Monday nights and Wednesday nights. Tonight, this is the main course, and dessert follows with the Porsches from Jerez. Circuito to the inside. Chapman relegated to third. Holding off Thoburn for the moment. In behind them is, of course, Tony Baker and Brendan Nealon. So Cito's got good company at the top end of town. Chapman's actually the odd one out because there are 3 Pulse boys. And, of course, Noble and Thoburn are teammates as well. So Chapman, literally the sitting duck at the moment. The odd one out in this train. And he's dropped 4 spots, and it so easily happens, Daniel Correa, sir. Oh, very common practice, mate, and it will be right up until the end, I can only imagine. But the problem is, the more and more we spend running 3 wide, the more and more we run the risk of wheel banging and therefore contact and this battle blowing up in smoke. And you don't want it to fizzle out into a processional run to the checkered flag. You want them to keep it clean. You want it to stay tight. And at the moment, mission accomplished. 2 laps to go. 7 minutes gone. It's a 10-minute sprint. We ride on board with Chris Noble. Something tells me I'm going to need to get the last lap camera up, ready to go here, ladies and gentlemen. Because at the moment, we have an absolute ball terror on our hands here. Circuito. That was brilliant from Cito. That was incredible from Cito to get the job done where he did. Not normally an overtaking opportunity, but this is Formula V. They'll overtake anywhere they can make it work. Onto the back straight, second last time. He loses out to Noble through the right hand, and now the wide open spaces in the back straight. We've got the 2 teammates, Thoburn and Noble, 1 and 2. Cito and Baker, 3 and 4, working together now. Chapman trying to get back up where he was a few moments ago. Here we go. 1 1/4 laps to go at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. The outside goes Noble, gets the better of Thoburn, relegates his teammate back to second spot. Here comes Cito with the lunge right around the outside, and he wants to take Tony Baker with him as well. Teammates v teammates. The 2 teams working together, one hogging the inside, one hogging the outside at the moment. Back to the main straight we go. They're keeping it clean. White flag in the air this time, boy. Let's go. There's a license point penalty coming the way of one driver there on screen. I didn't quite catch the number. I think it might have been Matt Schmidtke 571. Yes, it is. Safety point penalty for contact with Tony Baker on the opening lap. We'll get back to that a little bit later on. In the meantime, race control will be keeping their eyes on this, as will we. This last lap battle, 6 deep. First through 6 to be decided here. Cito up 3 spots, now leads. Do you want to be the leader? Do you want to be the sitting duck heading onto the back straight? We'll wait and see if it works to his advantage. Meanwhile, he's got Chris Noble all over his clucker at the moment. Noble's doing a beautiful job. Tony Baker and Lane Thoburn side by side. Here comes Chapo with a run down on the inside of Thoburn as well. Chapo can't quite get through. He gets squeezed. He's hung out to dry. Holding 5th at the moment, trying to keep Brendan Nealon at bay. He goes around the outside! He goes around the outside of Thoburn to 4th. Brilliant work from Chapman. Back straight for the last time. Cito, Noble, Baker on the inside. Baker will try and push Cito all the way. Here comes Noble up the outside. Look at the run that Tony bloody Baker's got. Have a look at him up on the outside trying to get a W. Just when you thought he might help his teammate Cito to the checkered flag, it's Tony Baker leading us with 3 quarters to go. They wanted to go 4 wide with 3 quarters to go. Sam Chapman around the outside, trying to get down on the inside of Noble. Can't get it done. Noble's been turned around. Noble's been turned around. Chapman is going to go from 5th to 1st and get the job done from pole position. And he had no right to win it. Cito 2nd, Baker 3rd. Noble somehow salvages 4th. Then Thoburn and Nealon gone from 5th to 1st on the last lap. That's why we love Formula V, ladies and gentlemen. It simply doesn't get any better. Magnificent stuff. Chapman converts pole into a W, had no right to do it. Cito, Baker, Noble, Thoburn and Nealon. Gill got home for 7th, holding up Matson, Henderson, and Robert McGrath will lead the field to green second time around because he finished 10th and will qualify with the invert. Have a look at this on replay. Now, where did the contact happen? Race control will no doubt want to have a look at that. Oh, right there, yeah, okay, so Cito got it, sorry, Baker it was, that got into the side of Noble. Noble trying to close the door, and he had no right to close it because Baker was right there. So race control will have to have a look at that one, whether it's a racing incident or whether it is, the fault is, the blame is pointed at someone. Which way or another, we'll find out very shortly. But if the next 2 races finish anything like that, we won't have you won't have me for the Porsches because I'll be out of breath. Oh boy. That was insanity. Insanity at the top end of town. Magnificent. We loved every second of it. Robert McGrath and Kevin Henderson in the front row. Pete Matson, Grant Gill the second. Brendan Nealon and Lane Thoburn the third. Chris Noble, Tony Baker the fourth. Glenn Cito, Riddell and Sam Chapman the fifth. I cannot wait to hear from Chapman in just a few moments' time. At the end of the program here and find out exactly what the tricks to the trade were going from 5th to 1st on the final lap. Magnificent. Right, here we go. Set to go for race 2. Lights out, racing now. Great start, Kevin Henderson. Unfortunately, Robert McGrath went nowhere. Robert McGrath's not taken the grid, nor is Philip Howe. We're down to 15. We're minus 2 starters. Three wide already early in the piece, and Grant Gill wants to lead it.
Oh, that's a massive hit.
Up and over and gone. They might call the safety car on this one. That's an enormous shunt. Ambo's gone. Cito's gone. Brendan Nealon's gone. Just about the entire Polk stable has been wiped out of it. Kurt Woodward, the survivor. Let's have a look at this again. Gill around the outside, contact. Oh, poor old Hendo's gone on his own and chaos has ensued. Every single car that was in the top end of town in the fight in the opening race, gone.
Just trying to figure
out what's in that in one way or another. Sam bloody Chapman's got through unscathed. Again. Like, the bloke's having a dream run tonight, up and over with Brendan Nealon. I hope you can handle that one after having dinner, ladies and gentlemen. Up comes the old brekkie. Oh dear. Now, they haven't deployed a safety car. Now, that's interesting to mine. Grant Gill's the leader. He leads by 2 seconds on Sam Chapman and Lane Thoburn, who've both swamped on Kurt Woodward. Josh Maynard, Chris Noble, Matt Schmidtke, Phil King, Tony Baker, Steve Hoppett, and Glenn Cito Riddell. Everyone else is in the pits. Race control won't be happy looking at the cars not slowing there as well. So race control knows that they'll be reviewing the tape of this one. They'll be kept very busy tonight, I would imagine. Meanwhile, Kurt Woodward, Grant Gill, Sam Chapman, Lane Thoburn, top 3. So Sam Chapman already has gained 8 spots on the opening lap. Sure, 5 of them were wiped out, and that's okay. But Sam Chapman is on the cusp of being in a position to do what Chris Noble did last week, and that's win the invert race from 10th on the grid. Down the back straight we go. Gill, Chapman, Thoburn, Woodward and Maynard, and Noble, Schmidtke, King and Baker, then Hoppert and Riddell, the top 11. The only 11 still left in this fight, really. If you're Kevin Henderson, Pete Madsen, Brendan Nealon and Ambo, you're waiting there for the start of race 3. Because basically, all you'd be doing now by going out at this point in race 2 would be, they can get back out there and salvage something, but it's literally going to be the minor placings. They're not going to get to have a proper crack at it until race 3. You'd just be going through the motions for the sake of turning laps and getting a couple of vital championship points. No other merit to it at this point. Kurt Woodward, 3rd place, relegated there by Lane Thoburn. Sam Chapman is there, losing out as well. Thoburn around the outside goes to 2nd. Chapman back into 3rd. Woodward is 4th, and slowly but surely they're whittling away at Grant Gill's advantage here. Gill leads by 1.2 seconds at the end of the 2nd lap. We're expecting a race distance of 9 laps this time around, ladies and gentlemen. Very nicely done so far. If you've survived, you're doing well. Matt Schmidtke up 10 spots already. Phil, make it 11 now down there on the inside. Chris Noble remains where he started in 7th place. And Steve Hoppett's off the circuit as well. Steve Hoppett's had an off-track excursion. Had moved from 12th up into 11th, but has now dropped off the road. He has since rejoined, but he's down a distant 11th. 2.6 off the chasing pack. Off the peloton, as we like to call it. Chris Noble in 6th place now, holding off, keeping Matt Schmidtke and Phil King company and keeping them at bay in the process. Gill, Thoburn, Chapman, Maynard, Woodward and Noble, the top 5. Noble's 6th, I should say. The top 5 have now all latched onto Grant Gill, so it's a 5-way fight for 1st. Matt Schmidtke, 1 minute 40.7, the time to beat so far. Ambo's parked up and got back out on the racetrack. So too Pete Madsen, but they're both a lap down. Kevin Henderson and Brendan Nealon have got back out there. Robert McGrath has as well. So everybody that's been to pit lane at some point has got back out. But, it's a long way back from there, no doubt. They'll wait for the reset at the start of race 3 and have another crack. Chaos usually ensues when we invert portions of the grid. Tonight didn't disappoint. But Thoburn leads. He's got by Gill. Chapman will look to do the same in just a moment. Thoburn leads. Not for the first time tonight. Maynard and Woodward still in this fight as well. I suspect Chapman will look for a quick way by Grant Gill here to have a crack at Thoburn himself. And does so. Well done, Sam Chapman. Around
Maynard's
the outside wall. Josh Maynard slips up. And parks up. Oh no, he's going to limp away. He's going to get back going. Nicely done. He had the fastest lap of the race as well, Josh. So, and then there were 4, Daniel.
It's hypnotizing to see them just moving in a line. If Chris can close up that 4-second gap, it'll be a nice little pencil line just driving around the track. And it just goes to show, like, the draft is so important. You see him weaving, not wanting to break the toe. And then when we get to about here, that's when everybody starts to break out, trying to hold the outside line, which turns into the inside line in the last couple of turns, which is exactly what Grant Gill's going to do. And then Sam Chapman's going to try the same thing as well, making it 3 wide, which has been par 4 the course tonight. And I'm curious to see if Sam Chapman will be able to hold the speed on the outside or if he'll have to give it up as the other two make their way through. Grant Gill still edging it out. No, sorry, it's Thoburn now. Oh, yeah, and they come together.
Gill and Chapman and gone. Contact Gill and Chapman and gone. Chapman was hanging tough right around the outside. You saw what he was trying to do. It would have been brilliant if he was able to execute it, but unfortunately, he ran out of racetrack because Grant Gill's come across to try and cover it off. Bang. I'm not sure Gill saw him there. I'm not sure Grant saw him there, to be honest. And then there were 2. And it's a 3-way fight for 3rd as well. Schmidtke in the middle. He's got Phil King on the outside. He's got Chris Noble on the inside. And then they follow one another through line astern. Oh, boy. And that's the thing. You don't want to be pitting unnecessarily in these races. You do not want to be pitting unnecessarily. It's just an automatic invoice. because there's no compulsory pit stops in Formula V competition. We know this already. Pete Matson now showing off the road. Lane Thurber in the leader, Kurt Woodward going with him, but we're watching the three-way fight for third. Baker, Chapman. Chapman's got Riddell for company there in seventh, so hopefully there wasn't too much damage on Chapman or Gill's cars, and they are able to go on. Even if there is minimal damage, they'll persevere with it because, again, it'll be worth less to them in the long run than coming down pit lane. Fireworks are plenty in the set. The first race had plenty of fireworks from a clean, spectacular racing standpoint. The spectacular's still there this time around, but the clean's not gone on a vacation. It's been Crash City so far in race 2 at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Whoa! Matt Schmidtke trying to get around the outside of Chris Noble. Can't get it done. Tries to cover off Phil King. Down the main straight we go.
Phil will have the inside line. I'm curious to see, which he does, yep. He takes that shorter line, gets forward. It's actually a lot of speed going out of there, so he should be able to catch Chris Noble at this point. He decides to go around the outside as they move into turn 2. I'm not sure if that's the ideal line. As you can see, Schmidtke's really closing the gap now. In any case, this is the battle for third, as the front two have decided to play their own little game. Woodward chasing down Thoburn for the lead of this race. Sam Chapman, about almost 4 seconds to P5, where Glenn Riddell with him for company. And Schmidtke and King still trading places as they make their way to the second half of this racetrack, but it looks like Schmidtke will pull out in front.
Pray for me, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. I earlier this evening, just as I was getting ready to go through the motions and get ready for the broadcast here, I got a phone call from a lifelong school friend, and she knows why I stitch her up when I say this, that said, "What are you doing January 14? And I said, nothing. She said, day 1 of the Australian Open? I said, done. Lock me in. Because obviously this week the big news in tennis was that Melbourne Park's Grand Slam, the first of the year, the Australian Open will follow the same scheduling, go down a similar path to what the French Open has done with Roland Garros, and play on the Sunday before the scheduled start of competition on the Monday. So it goes from being a 14-day tournament to a 15-day tournament, and we're going to day 1. It costs a pretty penny, let me tell you, to go to day 1 of the Australian Open, but it'll be well worth it. And then we're going to take in a big bash match on the Monday night as well. All of that before, of course, we get underway for turn 1 of 2024, so I'm all for it. Down the main straight we go. Here's Grant Gill trying to get back up inside the top 10. He does so. He goes by Josh Maynard into 9th now. Glenn Riddell and Sam Chapman are swapped around. Chapman goes into 7th. They're chasing Tony Baker. Glenn Riddell is in that fight as well. So those three were squabbling in race 1. They're squabbling again in race 2. Thoburn and Woodward keeping one another company at the top end of town. Chris Noble has Matt Schmidtke and Phil King for company. These three are fighting it out. And then Josh Maynard and Grant Gill 9 and 10. So 4 active fights in the top 10 at the moment. What's not to like?
It's incredible how easily the positions change. Just back and forth, back and forth. Glenn Riddell leading this particular pack here. The fight for P6 with Tony Baker close behind. Sam Chapman bringing up the rear, but just watch this. The draft, you'll see them pick up. You'll most likely see Tony Baker just move out, maybe go side by side, and then Sam Chapman will follow suit. There's one, and then Sam Chapman will close up the gap slightly, and then he'll move out as well. Oh, he's being smart. He's actually using both the toes to get a little bit of extra speed.
And Cito did this in race 1 beautifully as well. He wants the inside of Tony Baker, can't get it.
Oh, Sam's gone too wide.
Chapman. He'd been hanging out there most of the night. It didn't work for him earlier following contact with Grant Gill. This time round, he's got his bearings wrong. He's caught the marbles. He's caught the grass. Chapman's out of that fight again. And back at the front, Noble relegated to 5th because Schmidtke and King pounce. How about Phil King? What a run he's having. Schmidtke up 14 places as well. Thoburn, Woodward, that battle going right down to the wire here. We're on lap 8. Schmidtke, Noble, King, Riddell, Baker and Chapman make up the top 8. Gill is 9th and then Hoppert in 10th place. And we've got three active battles in the top 10 that we want to talk about and we want to focus on here. Noble trying to salvage something. Schmidtke looking for a podium. How good's he going? Woodward there in second place, still hovering and hassling Thoburn. Riddell and Baker, they've lost Chapman. Will he get back onto that train before the end of the race? We'll wait and see. White flag in the air this time by. There are our two leaders. Top a shot. Woodward to the outside of Thoburn. Woodward to the outside of Thoburn, having another crack. Thoburn looking for his first win in Formula V this season. So too Woodward for that matter. Noble picked up the clean sweep last week. Chapman, of course, the opener tonight. So it looks like we're already on a trajectory to get two different winners in as many races. Night 2 of the Formula V campaign. Race 5 of 30. Main straight. White flag. 1 to go. Thoburn controlling this beautifully. Woodward just needs a little bit of luck here. He needs a run. He hasn't got it yet. Up the outside. Can't get it done. Thoburn's controlling this just nicely. Woodward second. Noble, Schmidtke, King. 3, 4, 5. Oh, have a look at that. Woodward yanking at each way. Left and right. Trying to find a way through. And still Thoburn good enough to withstand the pressure. And answer the challenge. We're in the final half a lap here. Woodward opts out of driving down the inside. Will he have a crack going onto the back straight? No, he can't. The door is closed. One more last big opportunity here for Kurt Woodward. Down the main straight, the back straight I should say we go. If Woodward gets this, the outside, he'll be in the position to do what Josh Zuno's talking about there in the comments. The outside goes Woodward. To the lead goes Kurt Woodward. Talk about timing your run. Thoburn's going to have an opportunity to get lunged back down on the inside at the end of the back straight. Oh, look at that. Perilously close to contact. Woodward wanting to hang tough. Thoburn's got the advantage back. Thoburn's going to do enough to get the job done. Woodward hovers. Woodward closes in. Woodward has the door shut in his face. Main straight, checkered flag. Lane Thoburn gets one up on Kurt Woodward.
Schmidtke's going to try and pull it out.
Second.
But he's not going to get it.
Third. Schmidtke up 13 spots. Best mover of the lot to fourth. Then King, Riddell, Baker and Chapman. Gill and Maynard make up the top 10. In a race that will be remembered for all the carnage on the opening lap.
Here comes Brendan Nealon. Going to make his move around the outside of Kevin Henderson. Can't imagine it's going to throw up too much of a challenge. I'm not even sure if the Formula V of Henderson is running on all cylinders. Oh, no, he's running him to the line, so here we go.
Nealon 13th at the moment. We're watching Hendo around his outside. Hendo, well done. Covered that off nicely, main straight. Hendo will get 12th, Nealon 13th. Nealon takes to the grass, but covers it and salvages it. Very nicely done. Fastest lap of the race, Glenn said Riddell won 40.272. And now we settle up to go around one more time.
That's it. Three
wow.
servings.
Catch your breath.
That's it. 3 servings of the Formula Vs. That one, all the chaos happened at the front end of race 2. All the chaos happened at the back end of race 1. So maybe we'll just have all chaos all the time for race 3.
So we get stuck into the 2-minute warm-up now, which gives us an opportunity to remind everybody of the results from race 2. Lane Thoburn makes it 2 winners in 2 races. We'll go for the hat-trick of 3 race winners in just a few moments' time. Kurt Woodward, Chris Noble, Matt Schmidtke and Phil King made up the top 5. 0.1 the margin. I said earlier in the piece to keep an eye on the margins. Tonight there'll be something spectacular. Kurt Woodward fought right to the very end. Very nicely done from Kurt Woodward, but not enough to get the job done. But that'll be your front row for the third and final race, which is coming up in a matter of seconds. And then, Daniel, we get stuck into the Porsches. And minus Matt Dench, we're not going to know ourselves by the end of 10 weeks when we're talking about a new Porsche Cup champion. We're not going to know ourselves with him being a semi-regular in the Porsche server. We're going very much into uncharted territory.
We are, but I'm a glass half full kind of guy. So my question is, does everyone push harder when Matt Dench isn't there? So I'm curious to know if he won't be here for this session. So does that mean everyone drives faster at the top end of town?
That's a fair point.
Because that would only mean that the fights were already crazy close until, of course, the pit strategies came, and then Dench did Dench things. But now that that's not in the equation, I'm very curious as to how close the fight at the front's going to be. Are we just going to see someone else take up that mantle and do the same things? Or are we going to see a full-on race to the line? That'd be a dream, wouldn't it?
I reckon the elbows will be out one way or another. They'll go hard or go home. It'll be terrific.
Very keen to see that. But let's not forget, we still have one more race here at the Motorsport Park in the Formula Vs. It is the longest of the lot. And I am sure, given what we've seen in race 1 and 2, that this one will deliver as well. Hopefully, we avoid the giant pile-up.
Let's hope so.
We get some close racing all the way to the end. But race control will most likely be putting more of an eye on those drivers who tend to keep the throttle pinned under yellow flag conditions.
All right. Lining up on the grid now, ready to go for race 3. Thoburn and Woodward the front row, Noble and Schmidtke the second row, King and Riddell the third row, Baker and Chapman the fourth, Gill and Maynard the fifth. Hobbit and Henderson the sixth, Nealon and Ambo the seventh, Matson and McGrath the eighth, and Philip Howe's already logged off for the night. There'll be a 15-second penalty for car number 169 as well from earlier in the piece. That's Ambo for showing for not slowing down under caution conditions on the opening lap. So race control still reviewing the tape from race 1, or 2, I should say. Set. Race 3, round 2. Formula V, Thursday night motorsport from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Let's go. Grant Gill's going to be penalised as well for the contact with Sam Chapman from last time out as well. All of those will be added to the results sheets after the fact once Adam Lavis returns from Mount Panorama and back on our Monday night broadcast Monday week. Grant will be with us Monday night, Adam back the Monday after. Adam Lavis, when he crunches the numbers and applies all the penalties and alters the results accordingly, he's going to be one worn-out boy.
Oh, I think that's
very busy. Oh, trouble. Josh Maynard has gone around. Steve Hoppett started from pit lane. Maynard now slips down to 15th in the order. Have a look at Phil King side by side there with Sam Chapman and Matt Schmidtke and Grant Gill. Chapman holding on for dear life at the moment. Whoa, up around the outside. That's up.
Almost came together.
Opportunistic from Schmidtke. King back down the inside. Oh, Grant Gill sees an opportunity for some clear real estate on the inside. Can't do it.
Kevin Henderson down up the middle as well. Everyone's taking their opportunities while they appear here on lap 1. And wow, Kevin Henderson actually has quite a good run. He's going to give Schmidtke a run for his money at this point, going around the outside. Are we going to see 4 wide, maybe? No,
possibly. It wouldn't be the first time. They've done 5 wide at Phillip Island. I can't wait to get there later in the term. 3 wide to the back straight. Noble and Thoburn lead this race. It's a train of 6 at the top end of town. It's Noble, Thoburn, Woodward, Riddell, Baker and Chapman. Schmidtke, Henderson, King and Gill. The next 4 through and Brendan Nealon behind them. And Chris Noble leads the field after the opening lap. So the 2 teammates, 1 and 2, go back to the Pulse boys. 3, 4 and 5 and Chapman 6. So we're back exactly where we were a few moments ago.
Oh, and something's happened.
Oh, Matt Schmidtke. Matt Schmidtke's off the road. Schmidtke's dropped down the order to 14th, make it 15th now as Josh Maynard goes through.
Too tight on the inside.
All on his own. Caught the ripple strip. And see you later.
And then he's hit the wall too.
No good. Unfortunately, once he lost control of the car, that was it. Now, haven't had a chance to say anything yet, Daniel Correa-Saab, but it's a big night of sport right around the world. Opening match of the Cricket World Cup, England and New Zealand. And, of course, the third and final match of the Women's T20 International Series between Australia and the West Indies as well. Updates from both as soon as this race is done before we get started to the post-race show and the Porsches. In the meanwhile, it's a race in 6 at the front of the field, and I get the feeling that it could well be that way for the nenext 7 laps. Have a look at this. They want to go 4 wide down the back straight. Not yet, boys, not yet. Save some energy for later in the piece. Oh, it's close. It's tight. There's centimetres in it. As they make their way through the right-hander to the left-hander. Cito's going to find his way to the front. You don't want to be leading on the last lap, but you're happy to lead in the earlier stages. Main straight. 7 laps to go.
Oh, there's a tap there from the P1 and 2.
1, 2, 3. See you later, 4, 5. Yep.
Oh, my Lord.
How the bloody hell has Lane Thoburn? How the bloody hell has Lane Thoburn continued on? Oh, no, he hasn't. He's going to come up short now. He's going to pull up lane, and that's understandable. How the bloody hell did we not wipe all of them out there? Magnificent. Have a look at this on replay. Oh, Thoburn with the broken car. Tony Baker's the leader of the race by 1.5 seconds now.
So there's everyone coming through. And just trying to check. Yeah, wow, look at that. What a jump. And, yeah, unfortunately, crapped out the front right. And so into the pits he goes. I thought he got away with that for a moment. So Tony Baker takes up P1 now. 4 minutes 45 into the race. And with that incident, the gaps have exploded. So Tony Baker with a nice 1.5 second lead to Kevin Henderson in P2. The same cannot be said for them, though. Sam Chapman and Kevin Henderson fighting as they make their way to the back end of the circuit. And then a nice little train forming behind them as well. So we've got a 5-car train fighting for P2 at the moment. But Tony Baker with a nice bubble up in P1.
Down the main straight again. Baker with the advantage, but we saw it evaporate for Grant Gill in similar fashion earlier in the piece as well when he led the invert race for a considerable amount of time. Working together, working as in tandem, working as the train can disadvantage those that are out on their own, like Tony Baker. There's a pace advantage for being in the train. And already that advantage, he's lost 0.3 of a second, Tony Baker. They are going to reel him in before the end of this 9 laps.
It does seem like that is the case. The only thing is, if the front runners of that small pack, which at the moment is Henderson and King, if they fight too hard, they'll lose all that time that they gain. So they have to kind of be smart here. You can't bump draft in these cars, obviously because instead of a flat nose, they have a pointed nose, so that would only give you damage. So you can't use that tactic to try and catch the cars in front. But what you can do is have a look at the time, notice that you've still got more than half the race to go, and then maybe play it a bit sensible for the next couple of laps, close that gap, and then you're really fighting for P1. But they don't care. Watch them go 3 wide as per usual, and they're perfectly happy fighting for second place. We'll see if they can maintain the speed while doing so and close the gap to Tony Baker in front, or if they'll take each other out and Tony will have an easier time at the front. But as it stands, yeah, their timer is starting to expand, so I think this is going to work in Baker's favour.
Baker, King, Henderson, Gill, Chapman, Nealon, and Matson, McGrath, Ambo, and Maynard, the top 10 at the moment. It's a 6-car fight for first once they latch onto Tony Baker. We know that'll probably happen. It's a matter of when, not if. Then, of course, behind that, McGrath and Matson are fighting for 7th and 8th, and beyond that, there's nothing. There is literally nothing. Glenn Cito had to come to pit lane for a 44-second stop there a few moments ago, and he's responded with a 1 minute 40.606. So Cito's out of the fight here after that contact earlier. So too Chris Noble, Lane Thoburn. They're both back out on the racetrack as well after stationary holds of 2 minutes 41 and 2:27 respectively. So Noble's got the better of Thoburn. Cito's a lap down. Meanwhile, we go back to the front. It's going to be a 6-car fight. A 10-point penalty for Chris Noble for rear contact with Glenn Cito Riddell. So Noble, whatever he scores here, he's going to lose 10 points from his round tally. After that, 3 wide if you don't mind. Grant Gill wants to follow Sam Chapman through. Chapman's got the better of King and Henderson for the moment. Gill's up there on the outside as well. He fancies a chance at going from 5th to 3rd. Can he do it? Can he do it? Round the outside? No, he backs out of it.
Look at that. A nice little 5-dive.
Nail on down on his inside. Have a look at that. Meanwhile, Baker's out to a 1.7 second advantage. So all of a sudden, he's actually sitting pretty at the top end of the tree. They're not reeling him in as quickly as they otherwise might have thought. But Chapman's in second. And Chapman will be the key here. If they let him be, and he can secure enough breathing space, he might just get out and have a crack at Tony Baker. It's down to 1.5. It was 1.7. It'll fluctuate like buggery for the next 7 minutes or so as we go through the motions of getting this race completed. 9 minutes gone. We're on lap 6. We're heading for 9. They stretch through the opening sector of the circuit one more time. I have enough time to go around the grounds for you right now, ladies and gentlemen. I can tell you the Australians were sent into bat at the Allan Border Field in Brisbane. They are 5 for 177, but they've got 11 balls still to bat in their innings. Must-win match. Winner takes the series. Yeah, the Allan Border Field there, as far as Australia and the West Indies are concerned, after West Indies secured the highest ever, or made the highest ever successful run chase in the history of women's T20 international cricket the other night. Meanwhile, the Cricket World Cup underway. England 2 for 64 after 12.5 overs, having been sent into bat by New Zealand. And Ahmedabad, the opening match of 49, I think it is, 48 in the Cricket World Cup of 2023, the Men's Cricket World Cup. Down to the end of the back straight, Chapman down the inside, holding off Kevin Henderson. Henderson wants to force the issue on the outside. He's got Phil King there for company, Grant Gill as well, and Brendan Nealon. 1.2 the advantage to Tony Baker now. So they're slowly but surely now starting to chip away at it. They've got 3 laps to go. Can Baker maintain the advantage? Can Baker sit pretty? Or is he going to be reeled in? Down the inside, Henderson on Chapman. Wants to take Phil King with him, will do so. Grant Gill sees an opportunity. The floodgates have opened. He wants a piece of it. And Chapman relegated to 5th. Now back to 4th down the inside of Gill. Down the inside of King for 3rd. Chapman back to 3rd now. Hendo reckons he's the right guy to take this train to Tony Baker. Baker controlling the race beautifully. If 1st or 2nd or 4th or 5th or 6th win the race here, then we have 3 different winners from as many starts tonight in Formula V at Motorsport. Oh boy. It's terrific, isn't it?
It is. As the Formula V's always give us great racing. What I'm just curious about here, Tony Baker seems to really blow out this lead. Currently 1.8 seconds there. But then after that first sector, it starts to come back to the fighting pack. And then these guys do exactly what they're doing on your screen right now. And just watch that timer. It's going to slowly come down. And then once they get to that first turn, it'll just blow out again. So I'm just curious as to where it is that Tony Baker's dropping back enough to allow these guys to close that gap.
I don't know what Phil King was trying there on the back straight because he had 2 wheels in the grass. And grass is normally suicide in this caper. Through they come.
Ooh, a snap
round on the main straight.
Gill, though. Look at him save that car. So see, look, the gap's out there, 1.8, and then it slowly but surely starts to tick down there. And I'm just curious as to what passed the first sector. There must be a part. Yeah, Sam Chapman left to his own is going to rapidly reduce that gap. But I just can't put my finger on it as to why he's slower through this part of the track. In any case, it's a fantastic pack battle to watch. Sam Chapman leads it, P2 at the moment. And Grant Gill there in P6. Not wanting to let any of this go. Oh, actually, as he just shoots up the inside of Phil King there. So 2 minutes left. So yeah, look at the gap there. 1.6 to Tony Baker now. So they've dropped it by 0.2, and it's still coming down. And then we'll see if it holds true here as they fight, and we'll go 3 wide again. Yep. That's per usual.
Hendo up the outside. Sorry, up the inside. He's got, is that Brendan Nealon? Yes, it is up the outside. Nealon to second. Chapman went with him. Hendo trying to hold sway on the inside. Look at this. Nealon forced to yield. Inside outside seems to be the trick here. The key to success. White flag in the air, 1 to go. They're not going to get to Tony Baker if he doesn't put a foot wrong. Tony Baker's going to win his first race in Formula V on his first night back in the rig as well, as you saw in the comments there from Josh Zuno earlier. Gilly's holding on to a top 5 finish at the moment. He'd love nothing more than a podium. He's got the chance to do that if it goes up in smoke ahead of him. Cito's last in the train. We've got all 16 that started still running, but it's a case of what might have been for the likes of Noble Thoburn and Cito Riddell. And that has automatically enabled guys like Nealon, Gill and King to factor into the fight here. Chapman around the outside of Hendo. Hendo holding on. Chapman down the inside. Chapman down the inside. Chapman back to second. Cruelly denied earlier with that contact with Grant Gill. He's out in pursuit of his second podium finish of the night. Who said he needed a Whittaker on the track to ruin his fun? Down the back straight we go. Baker, Henderson, Chapman, Nealon. Baker's going to get it done. Hendo back down the inside, Chapman up the outside. Here comes Brendan Nealon as well. Gill and King are side by side fighting for the minors. In behind them is the lap traffic of Glenn Cito Riddell, just with the best seat in the house, if you don't mind. He'd rather be in the fight, I'm sure. Nealon around the outside.
Oh, no!
Chapman's off the road. No, he managed to save it. Phil King's off the road. Gilling's going to get himself up to 4th. Tony Baker is a race winner in Formula V, if you don't mind, ladies and gentlemen. What a night we've had at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Hendo, Nealon, Gill, Chapman and King. How good. That's why we're here every bloody Thursday night. Forget about what the Porsches are going to dish up a little bit later on. If you're not here for the main course, you don't need to bother about dessert.
So, I'm not exactly sure what happened at the back end there, but it was Sam Chapman that went into Phil King. We'll see if we can... So, what's the deal here? Sam is slightly bouncing around, and then it's the correction there, yeah.
Yeah. Phil's hit him up the clacker and become the sacrificial lamb in all of that. Still a good fight from Phil. Nothing wrong with 6th in this field. Here it is again.
So there it is,
Actually, there was contact with Nealon. Yeah, righto. So contact with Nealon, and unfortunately, it backed King up, and he had nowhere to go. But they all did well to link to the line. All things considered, we've seen worse incidents tonight.
So there it is there.
There it is. Wheel lock.
Bang.
Bang.
And then that's course. Yep.
Mushka. And Chapman dead set lucky that he didn't end off spearing exit stage left. Disappointment for Thoburn, disappointment for Noble, 14th and 15th. And Glenn Cito Riddell, wow, 16th. Very rare you see them that far down. AK Henderson, Nealon, Gill, Chapman I wonder if anyone had that in their first 4 multi tonight. My goodness. Not in this star-studded field. I don't think you would have had Noble, Thoburn or Riddell for your last 3 across the line either. That's the beauty of Formula V. It dishes up the unexpected. It dishes up great drama and excitement, great entertainment. That's why it's terrific to have it back on the platforms of the GSRC. Some highlights for you. Take your pick, because the last lap of race 1, as far as I'm concerned, was the pick of the bunch. That was the only one I actually filmed from the commentary box. It just delivered so much more than everything else that we saw. Baker, Henderson, Nealon, Gill and Chapman, the top 5 in race 3 here. We're looking at some highlights from the night that was. And you'll see the incident here in these opening laps of this 3rd and final race that took Noble, Thoburn, Riddell out of business. It all being said, all fair and equal, well done to Tony Baker. Took advantage of an unfortunate situation for a couple of drivers around him. That was unlucky for Matt Schmidtke, for Josh Maynard rather. Schmidtke had a moment later on in the piece as well in a very similar liveried car. Yeah. Well, one's purple, one's blue, so be it. But they both had moments on that opening lap. Meanwhile, the incident that we'll all be talking about was the one on the main straight that could have absolutely been a demonstration of 10-pin bowling and wiped everybody out, but it wiped everybody out but Tony Baker. And Baker saw a clean path through to the front and was never headed from that point. Very rare you see a Formula V race won by 1.86 seconds, but it was tonight. We've got no one wanting to come in and have a chat to us, Daniel. I'm a little bit surprised by that. Actually, no, I'm not, to be honest with you. There it is. Whoa. Because that was frustrating as all hell for all 4 or 5 involved there. That's not how you want to see your race finish when you're an innocent bystander in somebody else's garbage. Well, there you go. Not much else I can add to that, except to say well done to all the great people that get around the Gentleman Sim Racing Club and these platforms, because without them we wouldn't be able to show you terrific racing like that. They include Waste Options, Orbic Australia, Login Systems, Player One, SimGear, Lobesy Racing, M-Wave Australia and Flash Graphics. Well done to Tony Baker. Well done to Sam Chapman. And of course, well done to Lane Thoburn. The 3 different race winners tonight. A quick break on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. And I say that because with no one in to have a chat to us, there's no point dragging it out. Daniel Correa, Sarah and I are staying with you. We're back a little bit later on this hour. At the top of the hour, remembering we've got Porsche racing from the circuit to Jerez for you. We're looking forward to that immensely. We will bring you both races live in full from lights out to checkered flag. It is sprint racing tonight. It'll be over and done in about 45 minutes, then the post-race show there as well. And then we wrap it up for another night of Thursday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Formula V delivered in spades, as per usual. We're not surprised by that. We're taking a break. We're coming back. The pictures, once they come in from a Jerez, will be on your screen. Commentary will resume close to the top of the hour as we get set for race 1 of round 2 of the Porsche Elite and Open Cups on Thursday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the GSRC. Hope you're enjoying the show. Our Thursday night motorsport doubleheader continues for you on the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. We go from the main course to dessert, and that's in the form of Porsche Cup racing from the Jerez circuit in Spain. Another sprint round for you on a night full of sprint racing. Races 4 and 5 of the program. And in 2 parts for you coming up very shortly on the platforms of GSRC. Part 1 already done. Here's part 2. It's night 4 of week 2 of term 4 across Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Joe Baldwin's here. Daniel Correa-Sars here as well. We've got half a minute left in qualifying. So before I look at the championship points, Joe, good evening to you. Very depleted field tonight, only 13. And at the moment of the 4 open class competitors, you've slotted yourself into 3rd.
Yeah, look, it's a track. It's quite difficult for me. I'm not real good around here in a sedan type car. I much prefer open wheelers around here, a bit like Suzuka for me. But it's a track I like nonetheless, and it's just about gaining points and trying to get a bit of practice in. I guess I've got nothing else to do.
That's true. Come back at the end, mate. We'll get a quick comment from you with regards to the Mountain Men on Saturday night.
Certainly will.
There he is, Joe Baldwin. Championships. Actually, there's the track and weather conditions for you. 3:30 in the afternoon, 20 degrees the ambient. We're looking at on-track temperature of 34 degrees. It's a 4.37 kilometre circuit. This is the Jerez circuit in Spain, more famously known as a host of MotoGP these days. Brendan Whittaker and Brent Pedersen the front row, Sam Muir, Anthony Adsett the second, Nick Wood, Chris Whittaker the third, Jake Jackson, Andrew Dutch the fourth, Ben Woods, Paul Wilson the fifth, Stephen Gallagher, Joe Baldwin the sixth, and Tristan Kosh rounding out the field. Then we can tell you the championship standings have absolutely no reflection of the grid that you see there on the grid, ladies and gentlemen, tonight, because it's Matt Dench on 65 points, Sam Muir on 53, Dylan Shepard 47 and 45 for Jordan Malcolm, 44 for Jake Jackson and Paul Wilson, and Andrew Dutch in behind them with Brendan Whittaker. And the open split, Sean Rees on 60, Adam Lavers 59, neither of them on the grid tonight, nor is David Christensen on 50. Joe Baldwin on 50 is the only open split competitor on the grid tonight. Pete Matson on 22 points. Set for a start. Race 1 of round 2. Race 3 of the campaign. We get stuck into the short, sharp sprint races over 40 minutes next week when we go to Sandown. That will be well worth the price of admission. Then sprint racing after that at the Detroit circuit in Michigan. The first of the Enduros isn't until week 6. I'm not even sure I'm here for that. Set for a start. Green and away. Let's go.
Ooh, a bad start there from, I think it was Ben Woods.
Benny Woods has gone nowhere off the start. A run down to turn 1. And I'll tell you what, Ben Pedersen was getting very, very defensive on the inside. Held Brendan Whittaker at bay. And now Whittaker's under attack from Sam Muir, who goes through on the inside and goes up into P2. Here comes Whittaker back on the inside through 3 to 4. And lurking there is Anthony Adsett and Chris Whittaker as well. Adsett up on the outside. They'll yield. They'll go through line of stern. Down the back straight. We're riding on board with Anthony Adsett. Chris Whittaker in 5th place in behind him. So too Nick Wood, Jake Jackson and Andrew Dutch. Paul Wilson, a shocker of a start. Down 3 spots already, down to 13th, and Ben Woods down 4. Everybody else on the charge. Joe Baldwin leads the open split at the moment, having moved up 3 spots. Uh-oh. There goes Nick Wood. Nick Wood's off and out, and Chris Whittaker's gone with him. Nick Wood and Chris Whittaker off the road. This is how it happened. Uh-oh. Contact. Gone. See you later. That'll be a redress from Nick Wood on Chris Whittaker.
Yeah, he stopped there, waiting for him to go past. Gentlemanly, but unfortunately, yeah, just tapping the back of Chris Whittaker there, causing the spin. So both of them now P12 and 13 respectively. Oh, and look at the damage there from Ben Woods. So Ben Woods has had a bit of an issue as well. I wonder what happened to his Porsche. Oh, yep. Think of that. Wow.
That was the opening lap shenanigans. It just goes to show you, doesn't it? Doesn't matter how small the field is. Trouble isn't too far away. It's easy to find it.
Yeah, only 14 cars on the grid for tonight's procession. Ben Pedersen currently in the lead there, 1.7 second gap to P2.
Procession is probably the right word at the moment.
Yeah,
Down the back straight.
Yeah, they've all fallen into a particular line. Chris Whitaker and Nick Wood trading places at the back there. Seems like no love lost. Here we go. Nick Wood around the outside. But there'll be a hard braking zone as they get to the bottom here, which will most likely give Chris Whitaker the advantage, being on the inside. We'll see if he can carry the speed. Nick Wood might go for the... No, he doesn't actually. Chris played a very smart game there. He slowed up just enough to the apex of the turn to prevent Nick Wood from doing a switchback, crisscross, however you like. Oh, as we see one of the Porsches there to the side, I believe that's Tristan Koch. So it is. So he is down into P13.
So Koch has had a moment. Wood and Whitaker have had moments. It's the battle of the walking wounded at the moment. Chris Whitaker would be hoping to find a way by Paul Wilson, but he's got 4 seconds to claw back there. He'd be hoping someone else runs into some trouble along the way here so that he can get the invert for the next race. Ben Pedersen leads the way. 2 laps gone, 1 minute 40.878. We're following Nick Wood, hassling, haggling. Chris Whitaker again. So Sam Chapman's found a new playmate in Formula V, and Chris Whitaker's found one in Porsches. So neither one of them will probably be happy about that at the moment, because they've both been caught up in drama tonight already. The race is only a few minutes old. So we're going 10 laps here, I believe it is, this opening race. You might actually eke 11 out of it, looking at the clock. It's a 16-minute race. 1 minute 40 per lap time. 1 minute 43.25 times 3 is 9. No, so 10 laps will be the journey, you're right. Oh, it says 9. It says 9. Interesting. Hello, Adam Lavis, no doubt watching at Mount Panorama. Whilst I'm trying to crunch the numbers here. And again, we're going to come back just short of that 16-minute marker, but that's okay. We won't hold it against him tonight.
No, it's not his fault. It's a sprint round, which means it is lap-based.
There is Chris Whitaker in 11th place at the moment.
I just forgot to change
That's right,
over.
exactly. So, Ben Pedersen, Brendan Whitaker, Sam Muir, Anthony Adshead, Jake Jackson, Andrew Dutch, Joe Baldwin, the leader of the open split at the moment by 1 second over Stephen Gallacher and Ben Woods. Then back to Paul Wilson, Chris Whitaker, Nick Wood and Tristan Koch. 13 starters, 13 still running. You wouldn't want any attrition tonight, Daniel Correa.
Yeah, it's the gaps have really expanded there. 140.4, fastest lap of the race for Ben Pedersen now as he crosses the line to start lap 4 of 9. The closest battle is the one just behind on the screens. We'll jump back there. That's Nick Wood and Chris Whitaker coming together early. Nick stopping, redressing the position. So these guys will race to the end here. And of course, this is race 1 of 2. Race 2 being a 15-lap race with a reverse grid top 10. So as it stands, Ben Woods will start on pole should the field finish as they are.
Excellent to see. We're underway at the Jerez circuit in Spain. A very quiet night on the Porsche front. It was also a quiet night, albeit very eventful, on the Formula V front as well. Benny Pedersen, the leader. So we always wonder, in the absence of Matt Dench, he said he'll only be here for about 3 rounds of this campaign, which will still be enough to probably get him a top 10 finish, let's be honest, in the championship. We often wonder who's going to be the next to be, anointed as the king of Porsche racing. Who's going to step up and dismantle, take Denchi off the throne? Who's going to step up and answer the challenge and become the big name on the big stage? Ben Woods off the track again, down to 12th place. This is how it happened. Will it be Ben Pedersen? We'll wait and see. 10-second penalty for Stephen Gallacher for contact with Paul Wilson on lap 1. Uh-oh, Benny Woods, meet gravel. Across the line we go. Fastest lap of the race for Brendan Whitaker, 1 minute 40.311. 5-second penalty for Nick Wood. That's no surprise on Chris Whittaker, rather. So Wood will get a 5-second invoice there, but he's well clear of the next chasing car, so it will matter very little in the grand scheme of things. Half race distance at the Jerez circuit. Ben Wood's back out onto the road after a 1.5 second pit stop. Tristan Koch after a 1.9 second pit stop back out on the road as well. Both those men well down the order. Joe Baldwin's still leading the open split at the moment. He's enjoying this racetrack tonight. He said so himself earlier in the piece. So there's the breakdown, the class breakdown for you, ladies and gentlemen. Chris Whittaker sitting there nicely as the leader of Porsche TBC. Now, I mention that, I highlight that because he will be allotted a slot in either the open field or the elite field once Adam Lavis returns from his vacation to Mount Panorama. And I get the feeling that Chris Whittaker will be allotted into the elite split almost immediately, given that he was in the top 5 in qualifying. I don't think that'll be, in any sort of question or doubt or debate. I don't think any argument will be entered into on that. He'll just go straight into that slot, into that field. It is a split class. It is a split format field class-wise, but they were all running the Porsche 992, ladies and gentlemen. That's that we know. We do have two. We used to have 2 separate splits. The open boys would run off and do their own thing, separate server. But with dwindling numbers, the 2 servers have been combined. So, in the name of fairness, in relation to everything we've always done as a club, we've maintained that 2-class format just in the 1 service. So even though it is a 1-make Thursday night and it is a 1-make series, we have split it into 2 classes, not dissimilar to what you see in the real world, where you got Pro and Pro-Am, of course, and they're racing also in Bathurst this weekend.
Yeah, and it lends to the racing as well. It's, you've got those in the open class, and it works almost kind of like multi-class racing in the sense where you have different makes. It's essentially moving hurdles for the faster class, but when they're the same, it's basically different levels of talent. And sometimes the open class guys will actually stay ahead and fight well for the elite class, and sometimes they don't. But it just gives the open class, they take away something to learn with the faster drivers on track. And with the faster drivers, it gives them somewhat of just another obstacle to navigate should they drop back, or in the rare instance that someone's getting lapped. But you don't see that very often in the Porsche Cup.
I think this is true.
So Whittaker and Wood now caught up to Paul Wilson, who took the top honours last season for the Porsche Cup and has graduated himself from Open to Elite.
Let's go, whilst things are quietening down here, we're on lap 7 of 9, remembering that this is a 16-minute opening race, and then the next one will be 27 minutes. We've got both Whittaker and Wood ranging up onto the tail of Paul Wilson now, so we've got a 3-car, 3-way fight forming here for 9th on the racetrack. Nick Wood, whatever happens here, he'll be rubbed out of it with the 5-second post-race penalty. So Chris Whittaker just needs to stay where he is or get by Paul Wilson. He's looking at a front row start, either second or first. The invert race in just a few moments' time. It's almost a full-blooded field invert, let's be perfectly honest. World Cup cricket, 4 for 128 the Poms after 23 and a half overs there at Ahmedabad, or in Ahmedabad. New Zealand having won the toss and sent them in. The Aussies playing the West Indies in the Women's T20 International at Allan Border Field in Brisbane, 9 for 190, and the West Indies in response currently none for 31 through 6 overs. We saw what they did the other night, so still a lot to go in that game and a lot of time for the West Indies to get their way back on track in a run rate sense. Nick Wood down the inside of Chris Whitaker, got it, job done. Will amount to nothing because he'll be relegated post-race. However, it's important to note that he can be the thorn in Chris Whitaker's side right here and now, and Whitaker might want to be aware of this as well. He needs to find his way back by Nick Wood, or he needs to get by Paul Wilson. Either or, because otherwise he's going to be left in 11th. He won't get the invert. Even though the scoreboard will read that he'll finish ahead of Nick Wood at the end of race 1 when we see the points table at the completion of next week's round, because they won't be calculated in the meantime, unless Adam Lavis is watching on from Mount Panorama and going to do it for us on the fly. That takes working on location on holidays or a whole new meaning, doesn't it? Yeah, iRacing's not clever enough to apply those penalties for us. So if Nick Wood was to be slugged 5 seconds here, it wouldn't actually impact him because he would still get the invert for the second race, which doesn't scream fairness, but that's iRacing for you. There are certain little idiosyncrasies and inaccuracies that we can't navigate or work our way around because of the way in which their system is structured and set. So if you're Chris Whitaker, you want to get by Nick Wood, or you want to hope that Paul Wilson or Nick Wood runs into trouble here, because Nick Wood, technically speaking, should be classified as 11th in this race, which would be actually 9th in class. But it's not going to happen, because if he finishes there, he'll get the invert. Controversy reigns supreme on a Thursday night at the Jerez circuit. We're on the last lap of race 1. Ben Pedersen, Brendan Whitaker. Brendan Whitaker under pressure from Sam Muir here. So it's very lackluster compared to the Formula V. But still, Pedersen, Whitaker, Muir, Adshead, and Jackson, the top 5 at the moment. And Andrew Dutch is 6th.
Yeah,
Benny Pedersen's been... he's pretty much controlled this race from first until last, mate, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. 1.7 seconds out from front. Brendan Whitaker trying to close that gap down, but he's also got to pay attention to the 1.9 MX Wraps Porsche behind him. It was closing in, I think. I'd say Ben Pedersen has got this with only a handful of corners to go, and Whitaker's most likely got P2. It's very hard to overtake in the next couple of corners with a gap like 5/10, unless the driver ahead of that is makes a mistake. So I would assume through the next couple of right-handers.
Oh. Benny Woods threw it off the road a moment ago, but had no one around him, so it's not going to impact him. Meanwhile, Ben Pedersen's coming into the last sequence of corners now. And Ben Pedersen will come around onto the main straight and take the checkered flag first for victory here at the Jerez circuit in Spain. Ben Pedersen gets the job done. Whitaker will hold off Muir for second and third. That's your top 3. Race 1 of round 2 of the Porsche Cup on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club from the Jerez circuit in Spain. Adshead, Jackson, Dutch, Baldwin, and Gallagher. Well done to Joe Baldwin, wins the open split. And we've got Nick Wood all over the back of Paul Wilson to the last corner. Nick's going to get the invert. I tell you what, Chris Whitaker's going to be really disgruntled about that when we tell him after the fact, I'm sure. 5-second penalty for Nick Wood will relegate him behind Chris Whitaker on the finishing results sheet, but Wood will still get the pole position invert for this next race. Is it fair? No, but that's iRacing.
Oh, Ben Woods comes into in a pit lane.
Ben Wood, that just sums up his night, doesn't it? Chris Whitaker finishes 11th, Ben Wood's 12th, and Tristan Koch 13th. Very lackluster indeed.
So, Ben Pedersen taking that by 1.6 seconds. Sam Muir, 3/10 behind Whitaker there in P2. And then quite a large gap to the rest of the field there. 8.9 at Anthony Adshead. 3.97 between P4 and P5. Jake Jackson there in the other 1.9 MX Wraps Cup. As we jump onto the results here.
Yeah, not much to show there really for you, ladies and gentlemen. As we get stuck into the 2-minute warm-up session, there they are. Pedersen, Whitaker, Muir, Adshead, Jackson, Dutch, Baldwin, Gallagher. and Wilson and Wood the top 10. He had Whittaker covered by 1.2 in the end, but he'll lose it by 3.8.
I wonder if Sagassa will be taking the field in the second race here, or if he is out completely. Not too sure. It's still showing him as in the server, so unfortunately they're in P14.
Yeah, no, Braden's left the server according to what I can see, guys.
Okay, never mind.
Yep. Joe, since you've unmuted yourself and joined us here in the booth, well done. Open split victory, race 1.
Yeah, a little bit unexpected, to be honest. I had a good start. It almost came to naught after turn 1. There was a huge bit of... I just had a look at them, Paul Wilson and myself, going up that first little short straight before turn 2, and there was a huge netcode there, almost turned me around. So he was nowhere near me. I didn't call it anyway, but yeah, just one of those things, I guess. Netcode almost ruined it for me, but... No, we ended up with a reasonable result out of it, and I guess it still goes to prove I still suck at qualifying and I can race better. I don't know what it is. I've been probably for the last 2 or 3 seasons now, I just can't qualify. I can in certain cars, but certainly not in the Porsche or the supercar for that matter. Like the cars that matter, I can't qualify. So I've just got to try and race my way up. But yeah, unfortunately there, I think a couple of guys got into it after the first couple of corners, and that sort of handed a couple of positions to me, and I managed to hold sway. So yeah, good result for the championship anyway, points-wise.
All right, mate. Good luck with it. Go well in race 2. Let's see if you can double up.
We're certainly going to try. Thanks, guys.
There he is, Joe Baldwin. He starts from the outside of row 2 alongside Stephen Gallacher, who he beat to the checkered flag in race 1 on the open split. Front row will be Nick Wood and Paul Wilson, then back to Dutch and Jackson, Adshead, Muir, Whittaker and Pedersen. The Adshead and Whittakers are going to be 7, 9 and 11 there, and it's going to be interesting to see if they work together to follow one another through, or whether Brendan will lead the charge. Tristan Koch is alongside Chris Whittaker, and Ben Woods will bring up the tail of the field. Ready to fire. Just past 7 o'clock in the evening at the Jerez circuit in Spain. Let's go to work. Great start up there on the outside by Ben Pedersen, already up 2 spots on the run down to turn 1. Nick Wood trying to hold on to the first corner, more contact. Oh, they just want to gather that up. Paul Wilson will lead the field through. Oh, more trouble. There they go. Oh, geez. Hold on to it. Oh, no. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Gone. See you later. And Joe Baldwin, unfortunately, it all goes up in smoke from 0 to 0 for Trucker. Yes. In this second race. The argy-bargy, the invert, it delivers again, Daniel Correa-Saar, but unfortunately, it's Chris Whittaker's off the road again as well. So too Benny Woods. It's all gone to the proverbial for a few of these guys early in the piece here in race 2. Frustrating start at the Jerez circuit. Nick Wood ended up getting a cleanish start. Anthony Adshead trying to get down there on the inside, does so. Displaces Stephen Gallacher. Then Brendan Whittaker, Jake Jackson, Sam Muir, Tristan Koch and Ben Woods up 3 spots apiece. Joe Baldwin down 9 spots. Ben Pedersen down 2 spots. Now make it 1 as he gets by Chris Whittaker around the outside, if you don't mind. And Whittaker's down into... more contact. Oh, there we go.
That's Gallacher and Whittaker there. Brendan Whittaker.
So Gallacher and Whittaker there getting into one another. Pedersen had got by Whittaker in the battle for 11th further back. So we're looking at 2 different Whittakers at the moment, as we know. And Joe Baldwin's latched on there. So Pedersen, Whittaker and Baldwin in a 3-way fight for 11th. And they're 2.5 seconds off Stephen Gallacher already. They're the 3 that have run into incident on the opening lap. Gallacher as well makes it 4. Ben Woods up 4 spots. Tristan Koch up 4 spots. Brendan Whittaker up 4 spots at the end of the opening lap. But Paul Wilson leads them at Jerez. It's a 15 lap of this one, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so going back to the start there, it was Ben Pedersen. Looks like he got a little loose and tapped the back of Baldwin there. And then as he came around, I think there was contact with Chris Whittaker. Ended up ping-ponging right between those 2. And then, yeah, look at Chris Whittaker at the back there. Bang, big hit into the wall. And I'm just curious how much of a tap. Oh, that's gone too far. Let's try that one again. So, yeah, it's unfortunate there for Joe. And then, yeah, just touches the 1-9 car, then Chris ends up
Yep.
coming across to the 1-9 car. Yeah, it's a big one there. And then
Contra
later
Tom,
on,
knock one. Yep.
later on, there was Ben Woods, who had an adventure himself. I wonder if he's just, hasn't slowed down the car enough and takes a trip onto the gravel. Nothing serious, just a bit of a slowdown. Back onto the track.
So there's Nick Wood in second at the moment. Down one on Paul Wilson, who's up one. So they shared the front row. They've swapped around early in the piece. Dutch is there in third place. Adshead and Whittaker make up the top five. Muir's up to sixth. They've all gained. We'll wait to see what Stephen Gallacher, Chris Whittaker and Joe Baldwin can do on the comeback trail. 2 gone, 13 to go. It is Thursday night Motorsport on the platforms of Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube, this is race 2 of round 2 of the Porsches from Jerez. Nick Wood to the outside of Paul Wilson to turn 1. Can he hold it? Wood, Wilson forcing the issue. Wilson will have the inside running as they come up to turn 2. Wood still wanting to force the issue and hang tough around the outside. Does so, but has to yield, surely. No. Wilson was very gentlemanly about it and left room for him. Let him have a sniff through on the left-hander. Contact gone, see you later. That was always going to end badly. The slightest bit of contact. They forced the issue. Neither one of them wanted to give way. Neither one of them wanted to give up their spot. Woods got into the side of Wilson. They've done well to keep it off the wall. They've done well to hold their brakes and not impede anybody else. Now they go back down the train to position 6 and 7 respectively. And Nick Wood's night goes from bad to worse.
So a real unfortunate one there for those two. I mean, it's only lap 3 of 15, so there was plenty of race to go. Don't know if it had to be that aggressive. But yeah, Nick Wood just drifting a little outside. And then once that first bit of contact happened, just acted like a pendulum for both cars, and so they really couldn't control that. Ended up hitting each other worse. And both spinning off the track there. So Nick Wood down in P7, Paul Wilson in P6. Ben Pedersen also making his way up, currently neutral in terms of starting position. Actually, scratch that. +1, overtaking Tristan Koch for P9.
So Wilson and Wood, I mean, well done to Paul Wilson. He was mightily impressive in trying to make Nick Wood work hard for that one. Wood forced the issue by hanging around the outside to put himself on the inside, but when they got around here, he would have then been on the outside again for that long sweeping right-hander to take him up on the back straight. As history will show, we never got that far. Somewhat disappointing. Whittaker, Dutch, Adshead, Muir, Jackson, Wilson, Wood, Woods, Pedersen, Koch, Gallacher, Whittaker, Baldwin and Sagassa. The top 14 at the moment. Sagassa a non-starter in all of this. He left the server before we got going.
Oh, and that's Anthony Dutch. Oh, Andrew Dutch, sorry. Andrew Dutch.
Yep. Down to 4th place he goes now. Loses out to Jake Jackson. We'll lose out to Paul Wilson. We'll probably lose out to Nick Wood as well. Oh, yeah, he's off the road. He's gone. Dutch back to 7th. Just the loose nature of the rear end of the Porsche striking again.
It's gone from bad to worse. Down 6 positions now for Andrew Dutch. P11.
Oh, now Ben Pedersen's gone. Ben Pedersen is gone. The man that set the fastest lap of the race. Oh, no. Ben Pedersen.
Has he just outbraked himself? He has.
It was looking so good. But now he's ended up off the road. And we know what the gravel traps around here are like now. Thanks to recent updates from iRacing, Whittaker and Pedersen to pit lane. Brendan Whittaker, the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 40.464. It's all going off in Spain. Can we have a look at the track and weather conditions again, please, Daniel?
Certainly can.
Just to remind everybody, there they are, right of screen. Oh, Beautiful, progressive civilization. 16 past 7 in the evening, and it's still daylight. Isn't that lovely? What a terrific idea that is. Hello, Queensland. 21 degrees the ambient, 23 on track and partly cloudy conditions. Significantly cooler on-track conditions to race 1. That might be catching a few of them out here. Brendan Whitaker leads by 2 seconds to Anthony Adshead. Sam Muir's third, Jake Jackson's fourth, and Paul Wilson's fifth. Go for it, Daniel.
Yeah, just 8 minutes into the session as we tick over there. And the gaps have really started to form now. Brendan Whitaker 2 seconds down the field to Anthony Adshead in P2. Sam Muir within the 1 second mark there, chasing him down. Then we've got Paul Wilson in P5, chasing down Jake Jackson. And the closest battle, it seems, is right at the back. Chris Whitaker and Ben Pedersen. With a 4/10 gap between those two. And, of course, there'll be a pit stop at some point in this race, I believe. So we'll see if pit strategy will shuffle the board at all. I'm not sure that it will, just based on the gaps there, but anything's possible. So we can see some people already coming into pit lane.
So Whitaker, Adshead, Wilson, Wood, Woods, Dutch, and Galich are yet to stop. So too Tristan Koch. Everybody else has been in. Completed their splash and dash for the run to the checkered flag. So looks like the earliest you could go was lap 4, which is 11 laps from the end. So therefore, there you go, 11 would be the latest. We'd probably see pit stops here, lap 11, the end thereof. If it was Matt Dench night, it'd be 12. We know that. Adshead, Wilson, Wood, all following Whitaker at the moment. Whitaker with a substantial advantage, actually, 2.92 seconds. And Adshead has another 10 over Paul Wilson. And these two have found each other again, Wilson and Wood. Will Wood have another crack this time round? Or Wood have another go? You suspect he'll get a chance, but will it be cleaner this time by?
Yeah, I'm sure I'll have it. Sorry, mate. I'm sure I'll have a go, but probably not as aggressive as the last time.
Yeah, that's exactly. They've got to be a little bit more calmer and cooler about it, I think, this time round. Show a little bit more caution and patience, maybe. What's patience? I wouldn't know. But the interesting thing for mine is Paul Wilson stepped up from the open split to the elite split this time round this season. He's handling the pressure, the heat that comes with that so far. He's going to pit lane this time by, so that removes the issue.
Yeah, Nick will stay out and go for the overcut, it seems. See if that works out for him. So the top 7 still yet to pit. Of course, Wilson and Woods both in pit lane at the moment, as is Andrew Dutch stays out. Tristan Koch comes in. So it's Wilson, Woods, and Koch at the moment in pit lane. Just look at the gap there between P2 and 3, 11 seconds. So P1 and 2 will have their own bubble at the front. And if it stays like this, Nick Wood will actually be racing himself with an 8 second gap to Andrew Dutch there in P4.
Through to Brendan Whitaker we go. He's the race leader. 3.5 seconds to Adshead, and then 11 down the road to Nick Woods. So the top 3 fairly spaced out at the moment, but we're halfway through the pit sequence. Who's going to run long? Who's going to go short? Most of the field have opted for short. Only 5 cars yet to complete their stop. Joe Baldwin's already been in, completed his stop. His was a little bit longer than some of the others around him. 5, 7, 6 seconds seems to be the median at the moment. Tristan Koch with 8 and Joe Baldwin with 9, the exceptions to the rule. Down the main straight, Brendan Whitaker goes to complete lap 7. 7 down, 8 to go. Just past the 12-minute mark of this second race of the program. 5th race of the night, and at the moment, I don't want to put the mock on it, but at the moment, we're on track for 5 different winners from 5 races tonight, sharing the love GSRC style.
So a battle is formed here at the back. Ben Woods chasing down the other Ben Pedersen. Doing a good job out of it too, within the 1 second mark. Stephen Gallacher has also brought down the gap to Andrew Dutch there in P4. 141.7. Last lap by Samuel with a 140.5. Fastest lap of the race, I believe, belongs to Brendan Whitaker. 40.46.
Correct.
Correct there? I am, yes. So a good job there from him. Almost 4 seconds ahead of Anthony Adshead.
So he's controlled this race very nicely, is Brendan Whitaker. I mean, with the early misfortune for Benny Pedersen, the coming together of Nick Wood, the misfortunes of Chris Whitaker, and so many other things that have fallen into place. It's opened up very nicely for Brendan Whitaker to potentially be the race winner here tonight. And it could get it done on points as well. But all that will be coming a lot clearer in the light of day once we see the points tables updated next week. And our mate Adam Lavis on his annual leave at the moment and enjoying it immensely from all reports. He was in fine form today, catching everybody up.
Yeah, it's always a nice atmosphere up at the mountain. Ooh, Stephen Gallacher, hard on the brakes there, locking up the front left. And that'll probably give Sam Muir a bit of respite. Right up there now, within the 1 second mark. That's Andrew Dutch comes into the pits, so that'll mean that 4 drivers will need to pit from here on out. 9 of 15. And yeah, wow, look at that. Sam is right up there now, so Gallacher feeling the hurt, and he'll go Sam Muir down the inside. Nice and easy. And I mean, they're not really fighting, they're in separate classes, but
no. That's important to note that they're not in the same class, Daniel, because how many times do we see, and I think Joe Baldwin was an unfortunate innocent bystander all that. Oh, Nick Wood's off the road! Nick Wood's off the road! He's put it off the road! There he is, coming back onto the circuit. What's going on here? Coming into the right-hander, lit it up on the exit, couldn't save it. Oh, no! Bang! Minimal contact. Front left, rear left, and then trying to get it back onto the black stuff. He's lost out to Stephen Gallacher. And also Sam Muir. How lucky was he? Muir's now the best placed of those two has stopped, which bodes well for him to have a crack at Brendan Whitaker later in the piece. But Nick Wood, for the second time in this race, the third time tonight, caught up in drama.
I wonder if race control will consider that an unsafe rejoin.
Well, that's a fair point too.
He whipped that car around. See, I don't know. If you had your relative window up, it would have flagged that there were cars coming down. And also, because of the nature of that hill, even in the cockpit, you'd have seen them coming down. So I wonder if maybe just, heat of the moment, tunnel vision, he spun around. Nobody got hurt. Nobody went into an incident. Sam Muir managed to avoid just fine. But even so, it did say he had to go across the entire track for that spin. So I wonder what race control will have to say about that. Keep an eye out on the warnings if they come through. So only 2 people left to pit now. That'll be Brendan Whitaker and Anthony Adshead up in front. And as Gallacher and Wood come in.
So now just 2 yet to stop. Chris Whitaker rejoins in 8th place. Chasing Ben Woods. Ben Woods is all over the back of Paul Wilson. We're watching Andrew Dutch. Field fairly well spread out at the moment. Just Wilson and Woods in the battle at this point. Just Whitaker and Adshead to come to pit lane. Now, margin between Brendan Whitaker and Sam Muir is 26.5 seconds. Will that be enough for Whitaker to remain at the pointy end of town, or is Sam Muir about to one-up him? Now, in good news for those of you that were playing Powerball tonight, the 60 million jackpot has been won. I don't have my ticket on me at the moment, but I'm going to hazard a guess that it wasn't me that won. And I'll be here next Thursday night alongside Daniel Correa. Once more, Brendan Whitaker into pit lane and out again. 6.58, electrifyingly quick pit stop from Brendan Whitaker. Anthony Adshead continues on to lap 11. We expected 11 to be the threshold. It's going to be most likely for Adshead. And Brendan Whitaker has got back out in front of Sam Muir, but only by 1.5 seconds. So we could very well soon have a battle on our hands for the outright lead in the car race. Thank Christ.
Yeah, so a battle forming in the middle of the pack here. Ben Woods chasing down Paul Wilson. Chris Whitaker within the 1 second mark there. So 6, 7, and 8 all within contention. And let's see the gap from P1 to 2. 20 seconds. I'm looking at the pit lane times here. They're floating around 36, 37, 38 seconds. So I think Adshead will come out behind Sam Muir. All things resolved. Not too sure. Whoa, that sounded like a massive crash, and it was.
It was. Ben Pedersen. Ben Pedersen's had a monumental shunt. Watch this. On the curb and gone.
What is that?
That's not normal. That's what that is.
I'm going to say maybe hardware failure?
Could well possibly be. He hasn't moved from the spot. So it looks as though he's either had serious packet loss or equipment failure because he hasn't been able to exit. He'll be parked there, exit stage left, coming up towards the top of the hill. Next time around, keep an eye on that. Anthony Adshead in the field is cleansed. Brendan Whitaker goes to the lead. Sam Muir to second and Jake Jackson to third, but Ben Pedersen's night is done. Oh, that is so unfortunate.
It is.
They cannot take a trick, those blokes.
And I was
They really
right.
can't take a trick.
Yeah, and I was right there. Adshead did exit behind Sam Muir. So that's a good one for Sam, up to P2 now. And with only 1 second gap between himself and Brendan Whitaker, it will be a race to the checkered flag. As the other battle is the one on your screens. Woods chasing down Chris Whitaker and Andrew Dutch hot on their heels as well. Lap 12:15, 3 laps to go here at the Circuit de Jerez.
What about the big news overnight? So let's go around the grounds and work on a couple of things here because I want to give some updates from the Cricket World Cup and also Allan Border Field. But the big news overnight was Marc Marquez leaving Honda for Ducati for Gresini at the end of this season. That's extraordinary news in the world of motorcycle racing because it breaks up one of the great partnerships of the last decade, mainly Honda and Marquez. But I reckon on a Ducati, you've got to keep an eye on what that guy will bring to the table and what he will provide and dish up and deliver next year. As for the cricket, as we get to the very late stages of this race, the sun's starting to set there in Spain. 1 minute 40.464 remains the fastest lap of the race. Brendan Whitaker the leader by 0.7 of a second to Sam Muir. We're watching the battle between Chris Whitaker, Ben Woods and Andrew Dutch, 6th, 7th and 8th, and they're the only two battles remaining on the racetrack. Ben Pedersen out of business, done and dusted. Everybody else still running, 12 running to be precise. Joe Wood now showing as second in class in the open split. Third in class because Benny Woods is the leader of the open split. They're in 7th, lit up in green on my monitor at the moment and yours as well. 9th is where second place in the open split Stephen Gallacher sits. Then Joe Baldwin is third in class ahead of Tristan Koch at the moment. Whitaker, Muir, Adshead. Muir within striking distance of Whitaker. We'll wait and see how that plays out. 3 laps to go. The Australian women, 9 for 190. The West Indies chasing. 3 for 103. And that's with 8 overs to go there. So they're within an earshot. They've got to get 88 runs off 48 balls to get the job done. Meanwhile, at the Cricket World Cup, England, having been sent into bat, 4 for 173 in the 32nd over. 4 for 173 in the 32nd over. New Zealand will chase that a little bit later on tonight. And of course, whoa, I tell you what, the 7th place, Ben Woods was lucky to keep it on the racetrack there. Andrew Dutch is 8th. Trying to get down on his inside, will do so. Dutch down on the inside, Woods back to 8th. Whitaker the next target. Whitaker trying to go with Wilson. Whitaker trying to salvage a top 5 finish. Closing stages, Porsche racing from Jerez. Brendan Whitaker, Sam Muir, Anthony Adshead the top 3, and Jake Jackson in 4th place a long way back. So 1st, 2nd, 3rd, daylight at the moment. You can watch the Cricket World Cup opener on both Fox Sports through Fox Cricket and, of course, on Nine's Wide World of Sports around Australia as well. Those of you that are in Queensland would have just changed over to the main channel. Channel changes coming up for the Northern Territory and also Western Australia in the next couple of hours. You're watching it on 9GEM at the moment. Lap 14 now. Brendan Whitaker brings it one step closer to the checkered flag.
So that'll be white flag, I believe, this time by... No, sorry, we're looking at the bottom part of the pack. My mistake, so they are on lap 14 right now. Just to touch back a little on the Marc Marquez thing with MotoGP as the topic. It's been quite a while since I've watched any MotoGP myself. I used to watch it as a kid in the days of Valentino Rossi, so on and so forth. And I was watching the Goodwood Festival of Speed this year, and they brought the MotoGP, the current MotoGP box there, and I don't know what happened, but my lord, they're spaceships. They've got aero. It's crazy. It's actually crazy. It's like a legit Venturi tunnel from the front to the back of the bike. And I'm all for it. You know, it's technology and evolution and whatnot, but it was such a culture shock for me. I just remember seeing it and thinking, what is that? What is this ridiculous wing? But then I watched a MotoGP race, and by golly, those bikes are fast.
Yep, they certainly are.
Oh, so Ben Pedersen had VR issues, it seems. Sometimes SteamVR does SteamVR things. It did not like a lot of cars on my screen. Sorry for causing minor chaos. I mean, you went off pretty fast and nobody really got impeded, but it was unfortunate. We were on board, and then I just remember hearing gravel and wall noises and thought something went wrong. And there we go. So an unfortunate hardware failure for Ben Pedersen, and white flag is out. So Whitaker's still in the lead of this race, but Sam Muir 1 second behind. I wonder if he'll be able to catch him by the end of the lap.
No, that margin, that advantage is eked out a little bit in favour of Brendan in the last couple of laps. So he's doing everything right to keep Sam Muir at bay here. Anthony Adsen's just punched out the fastest lap of the race, though. I'm in at 40.342. Might be to no avail in the end because Sam Muir is too far up the road at this point to be worried about being caught. Jake Jackson has fourth order himself. Paul Wilson's under serious pressure from Chris Whitaker and Andrew Dutch. That's the battle we're watching on screen at the moment. Whitaker wants to have a lunge down the inside, wants to have a crack, can't do it. And, oh, yes, there it is. Benny Pedersen. My donations for triples still at 0. Not moving, unfortunately, Ben Pedersen. The old internet network technology of iRacing strikes again for him. Main straight, checkered flag. Well done, Brendan Whitaker. Chalk up a W in the Porsche Elite Cup at the Jerez Circuit in Spain. He's first. Very nicely done. Sam Muir in for second. Anthony Adsen third. Then Jake Jackson, Paul Wilson under serious pump here from Chris Whitaker. Whitaker having a look down the inside. Can't get it done. Watch the last corner. Wilson's going to have to defend for dear life here. Grandstand finish in the battle for fifth. Wilson goes to the inside. Whitaker to the outside. Whitaker to the outside. Have a look at that. Can't get it done. Move across to cover up Dutching. No, he won't do that either. He won't have to. Main straight checkered flag. Paul Wilson gets fifth. Well played. Chris Whitaker fought back to sixth. Then Andrew Dutch, Nick Wood, Stephen Gallacher, and Joe Baldwin made up the top 10. Brett Bradbury pointing out that he's hoping to be back with us next week. We are off to Sandown next week, Brett. And I reckon you and about 15 others will be back on the grid just purely because it's Sandown. And I wouldn't blame you. There's the rest of the schedule. We go to the Detroit Belle Isle Circuit in Detroit, Michigan.
That'll be good.
Straight after that for round 4. I'm away for round 5 and 6, I'm pretty sure. Motorland, Aragon, and Mount Panorama. And back for Watkins Glen, Fuji, Imola, and Phillip Island to finish out the season. Yes, I'm a little bit disappointed that I'm not here for Mount Panorama, but I'm going to be enjoying some time away with a friend in Southwest Rocks instead, on the back of the trip to Perth and just before the Postie bikes. So just taking a little bit of R&R time in the middle there. some downtime between the two events, just to look after oneself for a change rather than burning the candle at both ends, as I seem to do so regularly. There's the results. Brendan Whitaker, Sam Muir, Anthony Adshead, Jack Jackson, then Paul Wilson, Chris Whitaker, Andrew Dutch, Nick Wood, Stephen Gallacher, Joe Baldwin, Ben Woods, Tristan Koch, and Ben Pedersen. Unfortunately, not classified in all of that. Daniel, 5 races, 5 different winners tonight. We can't be disappointed with that. We can be disappointed with the attendance numbers, though. They were terribly low by our standard. Chris Whitaker will probably try and argue the point with Adam Lavis that he won the TBC split, but he's about to be shuffled one way or another, either into the elite split or the open split. I reckon it'll be the elite. But all in all, a pretty good night.
Yeah, it was. Some very good races all around, some chaotic ones as well. And again, another unfortunate one there for Ben Pedersen with the hardware failures. And also Joe Baldwin, who's in the booth with us at the moment, just getting tapped there by Pedersen and going on an excursion right there for all the world to see. Apologies for that, Joe, but at least you stayed on the well, there we go.
No, I didn't. No,
I forgot.
No, we certainly did not. No. Joe, from hero to hero, unfortunately.
We are blessed that I had my microphone muted at that point in time.
I would have thought so. I would have thought so.
It was pretty disappointing. I was trying to take it easy, make sure I never had any contact, and I just got hit. Like I don't know what happened. I don't even know actually who it was. I just got hit. It was just one of those things, which is unfortunate. That sort of stuff shouldn't happen that early in the race, but it does. It's racing, and it just, it happens, so to speak. So, I think I might have got up, ended up second. I think Stephen, he's probably one of the few drivers that never got a penalty in that race, so well done to him. And he led the open charge in race 2, so congrats to Steve. We had a good battle for third overall in the championship last season, so it's good to see that he's back and doing races. So hopefully, I think we can tidy up the lap 1 stuff. It's been pretty good racing across the board tonight, other than that.
It certainly was. I mean, nice recovery, mate. You got back and secured a podium.
Yeah, I did
in the split. So that's and you got second because obviously you were able to get Benny Woods there towards the end as well. He had a late race incident. Tristan Koch fell down the order too. But in saying all of that, well done to you because you persevered with it. You could have very easily thrown the toys out of the pram and parked up for the night, but it wasn't worth it.
I did consider it. But hey, look, I'm not sure what happened with Benny there on the last lap. I came around the corner and he was there, or the second last lap, and I thought, well, it's for points. So I got my elbows out and I actually earned that position. So there was no contact or anything, which was great. It was good on Ben's behalf, and I actually enjoyed a bit of a battle for one lap. It was great fun.
Very nicely done, mate. Hey,
just had to play catch up, mate. That was all.
Well, that's exactly right. In saying all that, it was disappointing because race 1 had gone so well for you, but you know as well as we do because we've watched enough of these races together now that those inverts are always so fraught with danger, and everyone's I guess hell bent on making moves right from the outset. It's as though the last lap flag's waving with the green flag because everyone's ripping, tearing, rushing and busting and in a hurry to get going. There's no patience shown. A little bit more patience, a little bit more tolerance. Maybe we don't.
Yeah, I think a little bit.
Don't have those incidents on lap 1.
No, that's right. I think a little bit more patience there at the start. Like you say, it's the fast guys are in the back. They know they're going to get by us guys up the front, and it's I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the answer is. Whether or not we do away with the reverse grid stuff, I probably would have had a better result overall if we had done away with it. But it's all right. Look, hey, it's the same rules for everybody. Just look at the East. Bit of yin and bit of yang. It's race 1 was good. Second race was difficult, but we had we salvaged a result towards the end. So I'm not upset. It's the fight back. I'm pretty happy with that. So we'll battle on to next week, wherever that may be, and we'll try again.
Sandown.
Sandown, oh, yay fun. No, actually, I struggled with Sandown a lot when it first came into the service, but it's a track that rewards you, I guess, in watching. Like if I go on board with the really fast guys, it seems to reward patience. You know, patience, getting on the brakes, and you know, don't turn in early because of the aggressive curbs, and you know, it's a lot of nuances to Sandown, I think, to put down a good lap. I haven't worked it out yet, but you never know. One year I might, and I might be competitive on a wider range of cars there. But no, these will be a good car at Sandown. They run them there. I think they run them there during the Sandown 500, so they run there in real life. So it'll be good to go there and do a few laps.
They also crashed up there in real life at the Sandown 500 as well. So we'll wait and see how that goes going forward. Hey, Trucker, stay there with me. Come back to you shortly. I'm also going to hold off getting to CW in just a moment as well. Paul Wilson and Sam Muir beat him to the booth. So let's go there first. I want to check in with Paul Wilson, mate. Very nice to have you on board. How are you? First question, how are you finding the challenge of jumping up into the elite split from the open, mate? I mean, it looks as though you're holding your own just nicely. Have we got you, Paul?
You might need push to talk, Paul.
Well, I was going to say, we usually haven't had issues when we've spoken to Paul in the past. I'll bounce across him, unless we've got him now. Are you there, mate?
You got me?
Yeah, I've got you now.
Right. Sorry about it.
That's all right, mate. All good. How are you enjoying the transition from open to elite? Are you noticing an upscale in the difficulty level, so to speak, or not?
Oh, I'd say the difficulty's the same. I'm just probably racing a bit harder against the elite guys. I generally let them just get out of the road and try and let them go when I was in the opens, but I'll have a bit more of a dig now. She was carnage tonight, left, right and centre. I think it's the first time I've been facing backwards in both heats for a little while, but it was good fun. I don't mind this track, actually.
No, I don't mind it either. That said, I'd like a few more cars on it, if I'm perfectly honest. But in saying all that, not having too many cars out there tonight worked in your favour, mate. Ninth in race one, the invert for race two. Unfortunately, a little bit of an incident with Nick Wood, but then a late race fight with Chris Whitaker and Andrew Dutch. You held your own and held them off.
Yeah, mate, that last few laps was really good, yeah. Numbers are very disappointing, but look, let's hope we get a few more gentlemen back into the Porsche in the coming weeks. But in going up into the elites, I had a goal of trying to get a top 5 at some stage this season, and I don't care about the numbers. I've got 2 now, so happy days, mate.
The interesting thing about that was your incident with Nick Wood, mate. You were fighting for first and second at the time. Neither one of you wanted to give way. A little bit of contact coming into that section of the circuit that we just saw on screen there, out of turn 4 up towards turn 5. And thankfully, you both kept it off the wall. Had it not been the case, it could have been curtains. But
yeah, no, we got through
you lost a little bit of time, but not enough to rub you out of contention.
Yeah, no, we got through it all right. Look, we got through 3 corners all right. I don't blame him for having to push through the 4th as well. And we nearly got there. But, yeah, that was really good. Got away to a good start in the second heat. And apart from that spin, the second one was all right. Found the track, particularly after practicing on it a little bit, felt pretty slippery and slidey out there. But maybe Matt Dench is the voice of reason, and we've all gone nuts without him. So everyone's gone, hey, Matty's out of the road. Maybe there's a shot at the title, and everyone went berserk. So anyway, we'll see what happens in the next few weeks.
No, I'm hearing you, and I'm agreeing with you as well, mate, because it was always going to be hard fought to see who was going to step up to the mantle and deliver and dethrone the king, even though he has somewhat relinquished the crown rather than being beaten at his own game. Thoughts on Sandown, because that's where we're next off to, mate.
Yeah, good track. Don't mind Sandown. It's one of those ones that's got the chicanes left, right, and centre, but I don't mind it. At Sandown, it seems a nice, narrow, fast. Should be right. We'll have a go. I'm looking forward to it already.
All right, mate, very nicely done. Thank you for that. Great to catch up with you as always. Well done tonight. Race one, obviously, fair challenge as you got home in 9th place, but as you say, to only drop from 2nd to 5th in the second race and fend off a couple of blokes that are seriously good pedalers on their day. You can hold your head high after that. Look forward to seeing it at Sandown, mate. Thanks for that.
Thanks, Chance. Catch you next time. See ya.
From Paul Wilson, we go to Sam Muir. Sam, very nicely done. You weren't able to catch Brendan Whitaker in the end, but still a third in race one, gave you 8th on the grid for race 2. You've gone one better into second and a pretty good night out.
Yeah, not too bad. It was a bit of chaos there in that second race. Thankfully we were able to just survive, only just, and then it was just a matter of boxing as soon as we could to take that fast repair and try and put in a few hot laps to reel in Whitaker, but he was just too quick tonight. So congrats to him on the win.
How do the words championship leader sit with you, please?
Not too well. We definitely haven't been the fastest car, even though it's only been 2 rounds. We were well off the pace at Interlagos compared to Shep and Denchi, and then a few of the other big hitters. I know that Denchi's that he's scaling back his commitments to Porsche Cup, but there's a few other super quick guys who are probably otherwise occupied up at Bathurst, and fair enough. Hopefully they'll be back next week. So, I mean, we'll enjoy it while it lasts, but I don't anticipate it will last for too long.
Yeah, I was going to say you had 15 points on Brendan Whitaker coming into this round, so if you don't lead the championship, he will, given that he finished a position ahead of you in both of those races tonight. However, it was sprint round, so I don't think the discrepancy between first and second is as big as it would normally be in a single race per se. But in saying all of that, mate, very nicely done. The helter-skelter frantic nature of those invert races, you were lucky to keep your nose clean because there are a few others that weren't able to, unfortunately.
Indeed, I almost wiped my nose completely off on the back of my teammate, Jakey Jackson, so apologies again to him, but thankfully we both survived with just a 4X and were able to continue on. It was a bit of chaos there, cars going off left, right and centre, so the reverse grids, I mean, they're always good. They mix it up. It gives everyone a bit of a chance to be at the front of the pack, and for the faster guys, it gives us a bit of a different challenge and trying to make some moves, and strategy comes into it as well. So I think there is definitely a place for it. But as Joe and yourself were saying before, maybe just a little bit more patience on that one will help out a bit.
You say that you weren't the fastest car tonight, you weren't the fastest car last week, but consistency wins championship, mate. As we know, we've seen it time and time again. With the Jerez circuit, is it one that you enjoy, or is it one that you're happy to see the back of?
A little bit of both, just because it's so new. I haven't really done too many laps around here, so still trying to figure it out. And it just seems to be, as Paul said, it's just a really slippery track. It doesn't seem to matter what the track temp is, just really, really limited for grip. So, probably happy to see the back of it, but really excited about the calendar and what's ahead. I think we go to Bathurst and Watson Glen and Phillip Island.
And on Sandown, because that's the next stop, obviously.
Yeah, Sandown, probably my least favourite of the Aussie tracks. Still haven't figured that one out either, so we'll have to do some pracky in between now and next week, and hopefully keep our nose clean and get a good result.
You mentioned your teammate Jack Jackson, solid hit out for him tonight.
Yeah, most definitely. We had a 1-2 last night in the GT4s, which was awesome, and it was good to back it up tonight with a couple of top 5s. So there's been plenty of purple on the GSRC grids throughout the opening 2 rounds of the season, and plenty of podiums as well, so it's a happy place to be over at 1-9.
That is not a bad thing at all, mate. The purple standing out nicely. Your driving is speaking for itself. We didn't see too much of you on the screen tonight. That means that you must have had a trouble-free run and avoided, actually, to be fair, we say trouble-free run, but at the same time, part of it looked fairly lonely as well. There weren't too many instances where you had too many people to worry about playing with.
No, exactly. Yeah, again, hopefully it's just the fact that it's back this week and a few of the members are up on the mountain, and we'll have some more numbers coming back onto the grid next week.
All right, mate, very nicely done. Thanks for stopping on by for a chat and catching up with us and checking in. Good work tonight. Well done. You're very much in championship contention, but there's a bloody long way to go. Good luck.
Cheers, Zach. Thanks, guys.
All right, let's go from Sam Muir to Chris Whitaker at this point in time. Now, look, I don't know where to start with this, actually, CW, because Sam Chapman's found someone else to crash with in the entree on a Thursday night, or what we call the main course. You've found someone else to crash with in dessert, and in instances like that, you can even do it yourself as well.
That wasn't myself, mate. Yeah, that was...
did you get some help there, did you?
Yeah, that was a bit of assistance. Yeah, some pretty poor driving at the start of both of those races, but yeah, welcome to the world of 992s. I've been struggling with this thing all week. The Porsche's never really clicked with me, but yeah, it's a bit of a difficult beast to manage. I probably could have caught that if I had more experience, to be honest. But yeah, Pedersen into the back of Sam, and then Sam, yeah, in his slide came into the side of me. No fault of his. But
no.
Yeah, just a pretty ordinary start, man. Long race, and I think Sam just said it before that a lot more patience probably required here. Maybe less doors. We've got a new Trent Lavers impersonation just there. There's probably a netcode door, that one. That just about sent me to board 4 on board. But yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, the incident in the first race just, I don't know, ruined the rear aero or something. I think it was just a dog, had no top end. Just wouldn't turn, wouldn't stop, wouldn't do anything. So I didn't enjoy that much at all, to be honest.
Well, okay, so two things here. You won the TBC split tonight as the only entrant in the TBC split. Unfortunately, you won't keep that because you'll be attributed to either the Open or the Elite by the end of the night by Adam Lavis, I'm sure. Point number 2, yes, I was wondering how soon you'd fit a Trent Lavis reference in, so well done on that. In saying that, though, that right. Exactly. That race 1 incident also would have sat well with you for the other fact that Nick Wood got penalised, but that penalty couldn't be applied in server, and therefore instead of finishing 11th and missing out on the invert, you do, and you miss out on the invert, and that probably helped contribute to the carnage that ensued at the start of race 2, unfortunately for you to be caught up in.
Yeah, look, it's a two-way street. I've had that to my benefit before, and I've had it against me more than once, but it's the same for everyone with that until our racing pull their finger out and allow us to actually apply some reasonable penalties in race. It's just how it's going to be. But I'm actually more disappointed, I think, than anything that our liveries didn't bloody load up. So I'm not sure what's going on there.
That's right.
I don't know if Daniel might need to refresh his trading paints or something to get that to show, or what's going on. I don't know. I think
I'm not sure either. You might. If delivery was anything half decent, you might want to flick it to us so I can have a look at it after the fact. If not, maybe save it for next week when we go to Sandown.
That's it. It's got nothing on the old school ones, mate. It's got nothing on the ones of 2020. There was a certain seven-figure something or other that comes to mind, which never made it to the track for fear that I was going to be kicked out of the club if I ran with that one. But
that's true.
The good old days, mate. But yeah, I mean it's good to be finished racing in the second race at 9 o'clock at night. It's fantastic. Still plenty of time before I have to go to bed.
I was going to say I would have expected a slow running clock on your car based on what you've been.
I played the fifth,
but that's another. There it is. It is.
I'll tell you what, the lap times that I was punching, I was definitely 118 years behind. That's for damn sure.
112, but that's okay. We'll play on.
112. I don't know. I can't keep up with your numbers, mate.
Yeah, no. So no one can, and that's fine by me. But yes, none from 5 for Queensland over the weekend, and now, of course, an unfortunate result for you. But your teammates at the top end of town had a pretty good night out, Chris.
Yeah, Brendan and Anthony doing really well. So Brendan's picked himself up a 10-second penalty in that one, which I'll have a chat with Joe after this, I think. But I think that's a bit a bit harsh to me was a racing incident, but we're probably a little bit biased on that call as well. But apparently turning in on someone that left a full car with then some. So I don't know. That's what the adjudication was. So we'll look into that one. But yeah, Anthony's just killing it. He's got a bit of practice in this week, and he's really clicked with the Porky pretty quickly, which is cool. But he's smoking me, mate. We can't allow that to go on too long. So I need to get my head around this car and work out what I'm doing wrong with it. And, yeah, take it to the boys.
Well, I was going to say, are you going to persevere with this thing, or are you going to find a way to get back on the Formula V grid instead?
If it was as easy as that, I would, mate. But yeah, no, we'll be hanging around in these things, and I'll just have to learn how to drive it. Yeah, the other boys are doing too well.
And send that's it. Ben Pedersen's about to join us as well, because he's finally restored some network at his end, so we'll get to him in just a tick. Oh, poor bloke, he can't take a trick. But while we've got you, CW, in fact, I'm actually surprised you've got all the technology required to jump in and have a post-race chat with us up there in Queensland now that you're 112 years behind, but that's another story. The reality of the situation, though, is that the next stop is Sandown, and we know that's a circuit with a somewhat distasteful history for you, but you might be hoping that a new car, a 40-minute race rather than sprint mode, might see a turnaround in fortune for you.
The irony of you trying to give me grief about technology, and then your internet dropped out as you were saying that, so it's fantastic. That's really well timed there.
That sounds about right, mate. Unfortunately, Mum and Dad's internet isn't as strong as I'd like it to be, but that's okay. Sandown.
Sandown, yeah. It's a best of the best or the worst of the worst for me. We've brightened up the yellow, so made the car a little bit more yellow than usual. So hopefully that it doesn't attract any other yellow cars towards it with the yellow. And he's dropped out again.
I like it. I'm enjoying the banter here at the moment, but I've got to get to Ben Pedersen in just a moment. Daniel Correa.
Yeah, mate. Oh, you caught me off guard. I don't actually have anything on the top of my head, but yeah, look, it's just a...
Okay, that's okay.
No, that's all right. Just a good race from me, Chris. Again, with the unfortunate incidents there in race 1 and 2. At least it was nice enough for Nick Wood to wait for you to recover on the front one. But yeah, slight. I'd be slightly annoyed too with the iRacing not being able to apply penalties, which means you missed out on starting pole in the second race. So
yeah,
that's a rough one.
It's more the damage. That's always the hard part, you know, especially in short races where you can't jump in and get it fixed up and go again because you just lose too much real estate. So, but yeah, look, it is what it is. I've run into people before. We all know that. So. Yeah, here we did our best, overlay impersonation. Look at that. I knew it was close. Couldn't see the bloody thing then. I broke myself. Did bloody well there.
Oh, dear. Now, let's go and have a look at around the grounds, shall we? Because I want to update you blokes on what's going on tonight before we get to Ben Pedersen and before we ask CW one more question. 7 for 125, the West Indies women with 3 overs to go, chasing 191. I can't see that happening. They need 66 off 17. The Aussies will win the Women's T20 International Series ahead of the first ODI on Sunday. Good, that'll be what I'm watching. And then the Australia-India World Cup match that night as well. Good day, Sunday. And then England 5 for 220 at the moment in the World Cup opener against New Zealand after 38 overs. So the Poms going to have a real crack in the last 10, but they've got to be mindful of the wickets in the shed. Right, from Chris Whitaker, I am going to try and do something about the internet at Mum and Dad's end because it's not 100% great, and I am here for another 4 weeks of GSRC broadcast. CW, stay with me. I'm coming back to you in a moment. Benny Pedersen, welcome into you. Well done on the success in race 1. Unfortunately, race 2 just didn't quite work out in your favour, mate. The network issue terminated the night for you, unfortunately, but you were caught up in an incident before then as well. You were already playing catch-up, and that just, unfortunately, was the icing on the turd.
That's what I apologise for one. So I don't know if it's a network or a hardware thing, but I get sometimes randomly stutters, and it'll do that for 2, 3, 4 minutes before it seems the artist crashes. But mate, when you started cutting out, I thought something wrong with it. I really thought there was something majorly wrong, but yeah, look, I'm sorry about all that. It's embarrassing. I'm annoyed as much as you guys are, but Yeah, first race was alright. More fun for everyone, I think. About.
For most.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys, with some good pace as well. This is one of my faster tracks, and I was definitely sweating bullets in the first race, and then I think I was sweating bullets in the second race just because I was angry.
Yes, oh, that's exactly right. To be honest with you, the first race couldn't have gone any better, mate. That was a really solid performance. So it's a glass half full kind of night for you.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. But it's always fun anyway, regardless. But yeah, as I said, still no donations for my triples. So I think that'll probably alleviate all the VR issues.
Well, that's very true as well. If you want to donate, by the way, get in contact with Benny privately. Charity begins at home, but then obviously, Benny's in some need of some charity and some sponsorship at the moment, as well.
Children
So,
as well.
Exactly. Actually, no. To be honest with you, I've been babysitting my niece throughout the second week of the school holidays, and I'm looking forward to dropping her off at school on Tuesday. So.
Yeah, I can't.
It's a no deal for me on that one. In the meantime, that's true. I've always said the best thing about being an uncle is you get to hand them back, but that's another story. We'll get off air and discuss that one. Whilst we got you, Benny, the Porsche Cup without the likes of Matt Dench, and unfortunately there was another slide after the recovery from earlier in the piece as well. So it just went from bad to worse, and then obviously. You parked up stage left on the run up to turn 5 there later in the piece. But in saying that, the Porsche Cup without Matt Dench, it's got a really different, unique feel to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. There's no one coasting in the corners. That's what I might prefer. I like racing. That's a personal opinion only.
Good. We welcome personal opinion here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club.
Yeah, look, I love racing with him, but the fuel saving thing, it's not my thing. For one reason is I'm not very good at it. But I like the just flat out racing. That's why if you look back at my performances, it's always race 1 where I actually do something, and race 2 I just may as well not turn up. That's where I work in the pits.
Gotcha. Now, I'm just working out what my internet network issues are here, boys, and I'm going from 4 bars to 3 bars to 2 bars and fluctuating. So I'd rather see if there's. I'm not. The other problem is I'm also not running on a cable because I can't run it out under the shed door and into the house from here either, and the cable's back in Ipswich. But that's another. So there's a few things that are. We're working with the remote setup. We're persevering with it as best we can. We might alternate it and go back to the laptop on Monday night and see if that makes a difference, and maybe even put the hotspot on as well. I'll wait and see. I'll have a play with it over the course of the weekend. Trucker Joe, were you trying to chime in there on the other side of the nullable? No?
Sorry,
Yep.
Zach. Hang on 1 second. Sorry, mate. Sorry about that. I had my daughter to get in the door and say
All
hello.
good, mate.
Sorry, what was it you asked me?
All good. While I've got you, because we're about to put a full stop on this, I've got one more question for Betty in a moment and one more for CW.
Yep.
Mountain Men, Saturday night, what have we got to look forward to, please?
Saturday night, I was going to run the Beetle, the rally car, just for something different. But after doing a lap up there, it's geared too short. It gets 4.5 laps on a tank of fuel, and we might give it a miss. So I think I might go the Delara P217 the Saturday night. Go and get a bit of a weapon up there, and have a nice fast 32 lap run around the mountain in that car. So I don't think we've ever run it. So it just for something different, we'll go up there with a bit of a monster. Should be good fun.
Should be indeed. Very nicely done. I'll let you go on that note, mate. Thank you. Well done tonight. Good recovery in race 2. Look forward to seeing you on Monday night.
Yep, and we look forward to you getting good internet next week.
Yep, exactly. Thanks, mate. Good on you.
Thanks, Zach.
I
See you,
just
mate.
want to do a quick shout out before we we wrap up here, just to Blackout OPR boys as well. Got Shep, Sammy, and Lazarus there, and also our other sponsor, Matrix Norwest. Good that we get the support from. Really enjoy working with the boys.
You can't do it without sponsors, mate. That's very true. Before I do let you go, though, it would be remiss of me not to ask you about Sandown, because that's the next stop.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely be there. I'm hoping Shep will be there because it's one of his best tracks as well. He's very good around Sandown. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be good fun. I hope Dench is back.
Well, he did say he's only making about 3 appearances this season in the Porsche Cup, so we'll wait and see if Sandown's one of those.
How come? Does anyone know why?
Well, he's focusing his energy on GT4 on a Wednesday night and GT3 on a Monday night, and something had to give, and he said, well, 7 Porsche titles is enough.
Why not 8?
Ask Lewis
Well,
Hamilton.
exactly. Wrap up 2 calendar years, 2 Grand Slam. Well done, mate. Thank you. Good to catch up with you, Benny. Hard luck tonight, mate. Go on next week.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll see you there, boys. Thanks, man.
Very nicely done. Chris Whitaker, last one to you. When do you go back racing, please? Is there some Prod Sports action coming up?
Yeah, we've got Lakeside next week, and
Nice.
we had a surprise appearance out at QR the other week as well. Got a last minute call up to go and have a run in the Enduros with Mike Cockrell and his Janetta. So
I did see that.
yeah, that was pretty cool. Something very, very different to actually race a real race car. We've thought all these years that we had real race cars, but no, we've had track cars, not race cars. So that was cool. Just sequential box and big slicks and a bucket full of aero, and yeah, it was bloody good fun until I accidentally turned the car off during the race and the thing wouldn't restart. But that's another story. So we had a barrel of fun with it out there, and yeah, it was a great event. But yeah, Lakeside next weekend. Brendan will be running the MX-5 for the first time in God knows how long, which will be good. And I'm supposed to have a motorbike next Friday, so car won't be ready in time for that. But we're pushing and we're going to see if we can get to the Stokes at the end of the month now.
All right, very nicely done. Now, yeah, our good mate Benny Patterson's already emailing me with internet links as well, internet recommendations, but I'm bound by what I've got at mum and dad's at this point in time. And apologies to everyone at home because it has been bad tonight, particularly. I think there might be a bit of Netflix viewing going on at the moment inside, so there's not much I can do with that. CW, thank you. We'll wrap it up on that note. Well done again. Better luck next week, and hopefully Sandown serves you well for a change.
Mate, there's only one direction to go from where we finish, so we'll see. We'll get into it and get some practice in, learn how to drive this thing, and hopefully become competitive at some stage soon.
All right, very nicely done. And you enjoy your early bedtime up there. I know you're a big fan of that. I don't know why.
Need my beauty sleep,
that
big boy.
will do us on a Thursday night. Yeah. You'd be sleeping permanently, wouldn't you?
Wow. I'm not far off, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. See, there's some things I know I can say because I can get away with it because I know that people will agree with it to a point. And CW is one of those. Daniel Chris, some thoughts. No, exactly. Daniel Chris, some final comments from you and some thoughts from you before we wrap this baby up. It's been a good night. 5 races, 5 different winners. Two different winners in the open split, 2 different winners in the elite split. So everyone sharing the love tonight. The invert races provided carnage on both Porsches and Formula V territory. The V's are the best ticket in town at the moment, despite the low numbers.
Yeah, look, nothing much to add other than just low numbers, kind of a bummer, and otherwise a great night. But again, it's kind of understandable considering the week that it is. So hopefully next week we'll get some better numbers. But otherwise, look, 2 great sessions there, 3 great races there from Motorsport Park, and decent races here from Jerez. Would have been better with larger numbers, but then again, we might have seen more chaos. So you win some, you dim some.
Yeah, exactly right. Breaking news as well for you, ladies and gentlemen. Josh Adokar out, Dylan Edwards in for Australia for the upcoming NRL Rugby League Pacific Championships. We do this each Monday, Wednesday, Thursday night, and we do it with thanks to the great people scrolling across the bottom of your screen, ladies and gentlemen. We thank these people for their ongoing involvement with the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, of course, Waste Options, Orbit Australia, Login Systems, Player One Sim Gear, Loadsy Racing, M-Wave Australia, and Flash Graphics. Let's look ahead for you as far as the rest of week 2 and the start of week 3 is concerned, because there's plenty coming your way. Friday night IndyCars in the Auto Club Speedway in California, 105 laps there, getting underway 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Saturday night, as Joe said, the car's different, but the format's the same. 200 kilometres around Mount Panorama Bathurst for the mountain men, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Monday night, fresh off the back of a big weekend with Formula One Cricket World Cup and a few other things going on, we're off to Phillip Island for the Super 2s. If they just shut anything like what they did on Monday night for Monza in Italy, we are in for something bloody special. There is no doubt about that. 7:50 Eastern Daylight Time. Straight after that, we get to the Waste Options GT3 Championship from Laguna Seca. Race 1 getting underway 8:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That'll be the Pro-Am split. Then we get stuck in, or the Am split rather, and then we get stuck into top 10 reverse grid racing in the Pro split. We're going to split the broadcast up on Monday night with the sprint rounds. Race 1 from Laguna Seca will be the Am, race 2 will be the Pro, and it's all coming your way from 8:45 Eastern Daylight Time. Tuesday night, the up-and-comers, the Mazda MX-5s from Oran Park. Then on to GT1 from Lime Rock Park on the classic layout as the Civil War continues. That's 9:40 Eastern Daylight Time there, so good luck to all concerned. Wednesday night, the boys are back with you, Daniel Correa, Sarah and Aidan Schultz. Okayama, the venue, then on to Road Atlanta. Race starts 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time, then on to the GT4s for Orbit Australia from 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So Okayama first up, 2 races for the Downforce Legends, then Road Atlanta second up, 2 races for GT4. So sprint racing for GT4, first time we've seen the format tried for those guys. Looking forward to that. We go to Zandvoort next week for Formula V, 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time on Thursday night, followed by the Porsches from 9 p.m. from Sandown for 40 minutes. So all that and more to look forward to on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube over the course of the next couple of weeks. We sincerely hope you've enjoyed our coverage of Thursday Night Motorsport for week 2 of term 4, and we look forward to doing it all again in the next couple of weeks. On the way out, don't forget gsrcmerch.myshopify.com. The website's live. Get your GSRC merch there. race.tgsrci.com for all the other club information that's relevant to what you see on the screen here across Monday, Wednesday and Thursday. The GSRC Endurance Championship continues at the end of the month as well. And I'm, of course, off to Perth in 3 weeks' time for the XL Nationals. So looking forward to all of that and more. There's a lot happening, both real and sim world at the moment. The virtual stuff delivering the goods, but real world delivering the goods as well. And we look forward to doing it all again on Monday night as week 3 gets underway. For Daniel Correa and the rest of the commentary broadcaster production team here, I'm Zach Caban. Have a great evening, everybody. Thanks for your company. 5 winners in 5 races. Who couldn't be happy with that? That was a good night out, albeit with a very poor turnout in terms of the numbers. So it was definitely a case of quality over quantity tonight. Hopefully the quantity join the quality in the weeks ahead. Until we see you Monday, bye for now.